I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, what if I met a talking duck that could use magic? What if my friend Riku has a bigger ding-dong than me? What if there was a giant door in the middle of this cave and nobody thought that was weird? This door was one of the biggest mysteries of my childhood. No, not this door, or this door, or this door, this one, in the cave on Destiny Island. What was on the other side of it, I always wondered. Some kind of horrific monster? Or treasures beyond my wildest dreams? Or girls? Sexy girls in there, perhaps? As significant as this door is, being the literal device through which the plot emerges, I really bring this up because of the feelings it evoked in me as a kid. There's nothing quite as wonderfully mysterious as a big ominous door. Whether it's the door to Nightmareland from Little Nemo or the Kabbalah-inspired gate from Full Metal Alchemist, doors are a constant symbol of mystery in the Kingdom Hearts series, and what I always think about when I remember playing Kingdom Hearts for the first time when I was 12. This is a game that combined characters from my childhood with more adult themes that coincided with my coming of age. It was like a doorway that simultaneously led to an alternate dimension, but also into my own past. It was a dreamy, surreal experience, and even now, it still is. Disney and Final Fantasy pairing up was a collaboration nobody would have imagined, and it's hard to describe the hype if you didn't live through it. This generation is spoiled with endless cameos and crossovers, whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy in a Thor movie, or LeBron James in a Bugs Bunny cartoon, or whatever the hell this slop was. Listen, I grew up with the Jetsons meet the Flintstones. Those are the kind of crossovers we had, and they were few and far between. None of this multiverse shit. Back then, a crossover had to be well executed and meaningful, and what better representation of that sentiment is there than Mickey Mouse fighting Sephiroth, because that's what we wanted all along. I think this crossover goes a long way in developing the surreal feeling I mentioned earlier. It's just such an odd combination, and especially when you throw in themes of shadows eating people's hearts, phantasmagoric dream sequences, and I See Dead People Haley Joel Osment. Forget goth kids eating popsicles, forget PS2-era photorealistic Jack Sparrow, forget how convoluted the story would eventually become, and just try to picture what it was like to be a kid in a world where Kingdom Hearts had just come out. This is where we're starting our journey. P.S. I know you were all expecting me to do a Skies of Arcadia retrospective, and I know that there's already a ton of Kingdom Hearts retrospectives out there. You get a Kingdom Hearts retrospective. You get a Kingdom Hearts retrospective. But guess what? This topic might have been covered already, but nobody does it the way I do. So sit down and enjoy some quality content for the first time in your life.
No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Don't get too comfortable. This is a dangerous situation.
I thought the car was supposed to move us. Wouldn't that be nice?
Can it? Ready, steady, ready, steady, ready, steady.
Mega Man, can you hear me?
This is Snake. Kept you waiting, huh? Are you familiar with Big Chunk?
A scattered dream is like a far-off memory.
Gotta give it my all. Hope you're ready. We can't save the world from a CD player.
Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight when you buy from Mecha Japan. They're your one-stop shop for all your favorite Japanese properties, like Pokemon, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Sonic, you name it, they probably have it. Mecha Japan has all the cool stuff you could possibly want, and they will give it to you in exchange for your money. They also have some sweet merch of the Kingdom Hearts variety, like replica keyblades, key chains, jewelry, bags, rare figures, and more. So if you want to snag some great deals on rare collectibles and other such swag, go to mechajapan.com and use this code at checkout for a discount. Thanks to Mecha Japan for sponsoring this video. Now, back to it. It all began with 1987's Final Fantasy, a game that revolutionized turn-based RPGs. No, wait. It all started in 1937 with the release of Snow White, the first fully animated feature film. And years later, these two things would have a beautiful, chimeric love child that would change the world of gaming forever. For Christmas of 2002, I got a PlayStation 2 Kingdom Hearts, and DDR Max, with one of those slippery mats that was basically just a garbage bag with arrows on it.
Oh no!
Disney has been licensing their characters out for video games as early as Mickey Mouse on the Game & Watch, but it wasn't until they founded Disney Interactive Studios in 1988 that they decided to get their shit together. They realized after several not-so-amazing attempts that they were better off just licensing their characters out to studios that actually knew what they were doing. So for the next 2 decades, they basically did just that. A few games like Mickey Mania, The Lion King, and Toy Story 2 were standouts, but for the most part, Capcom was the go-to studio making all the good games for Disney. DuckTales, the Mickey Magical Quest games, and Aladdin, I don't care what you say, the Super Nintendo version was better.
Do you like apples?
Yeah.
Licensed games tended to be platformers because they were easier to make and they could be developed ahead of time with like placeholder characters that would eventually be swapped out for licensed characters. An RPG for a licensed game was just too ambitious for most developers. But what about an RPG that was also part action platformer? Get the fuck out of here! Square, or Squaresoft, for a long time was pioneers in the industry. When you think RPGs, especially in the PS1 and PS2 era, you probably think of them. Secret of Mana, Breath of Fire, Chrono Trigger, Tom Sawyer, all classic JRPGs. But chief amongst these were the Final Fantasy games for their adeptness in combining great stories, thanks in large part to direction and writing from Hironobu Sakaguchi, great music, thanks in large part from composer Nobuo Uematsu, and creative character / monster design, thanks in large part to Tetsuya Nomura. He's important. The origin of Kingdom Hearts, anecdotally, was an elevator pitch between an executive of Square and an executive of Disney who worked in the same building. They figured that Disney's IP and Square's ability to make a decent video game would make for a great collaboration. This led to a meeting between the companies, and Tetsuya Nomura, a huge Disney fan, saw the potential in the room. Nomura, not long before, had his big break with the release of Final Fantasy VII, which he did character design for and also co-wrote. It was a huge hit, and so when he volunteered to lead this project, Square trusted him to do a good job, even though nobody really knew at that point what form this game would take. One of the first things Nomura pitched was Sora's design. Originally, he was a chainsaw-wielding maniac, but after some healthy ridicule from Nomura's peers, he eventually became the boy that we all know and love. Sora's design is intentionally a middle ground between Square and Disney, so he could be the bridge between the two very different styles. He definitely looks like a Final Fantasy character, but his giant yellow shoes, the red, black, and white clothes definitely evokes Mickey Mouse's design. Nomura wanted to make a game where Sora travels to worlds based on different Disney films, with the only real criteria being that they are all unique from each other. So for example, he didn't want to make a Jungle Book world and a Tarzan world in the same game. Disney actually had very little involvement in the whole development process. They would basically just give the thumbs up or the thumbs down to certain ideas. An early development doc shows that a world based on Toy Story 1 and 2 would have been included, but it was presumably ex-nayed by Disney, although we would get it much later. Nomura has a really unique art style, but he had to work in tandem with Disney artists for the Disney-specific characters. He said that he would draw a rough draft, and then a Disney artist would make it more Disney-fied, and then Nomura would finalize it with Disney's approval. The Big D's biggest contribution was offering an animation class to the Square developers so that they would have a better insight into what makes Disney cartoons so special. For example, Disney was famous for their squishing and distorting of characters during movement, and Square did their best to incorporate this into 3D animation. The final result was cutscenes with 3D rigged models that remarkably capture the feel of their source material despite it being a totally different medium, and that was a pretty impressive feat. The first trailer for Kingdom Hearts was shown at E3 in 2001, and the final game was released the following year. Nomura spent the last 2 years cooking up something, and nobody really knew what to expect. What we ended up getting was more fantastic, bizarre, and magical than anyone could have imagined. Kingdom Hearts begins with one of the most surreal opening stages in any game ever made. Falling into a black void and being given vague but seemingly profound instructions from an enigmatic voice that only the protagonist seems to hear. It really sets a more serious tone than you would have expected from a game where you sing a duet with the Little Mermaid. We'll get to that in due time. Actually, even the title screen conveys the same mysterious, melancholic vibe, hinting that we're gonna see some deeper themes than we might have otherwise thought. Our hero, Sora, travels across these strange stained glass mosaics representing a few of the Disney princesses, like Snow White, Princess Aurora, and Cinderella. The significance of this isn't clear yet, but it will make sense later. I just love the visuals of the mosaic platforms. It's so creative, and one of the most instantly recognizable visuals from the series. This section acts as a basic tutorial for gameplay, and it's handled pretty well. The mysterious narrator is just lousy with gravitas, though when they lean into the tutorial part too much, it could break the immersion. One moment he's saying cool stuff like, "The closer to the light you get, the greater your shadow becomes." And then the next moment he's like, "Did you know you could push a crate? Try pushing a crate." This, by the way, is a skill that you will use 0 times in this game. The developers really overestimated the importance of crate pushing here. You'll be given a choice for your primary weapon, a sword, a shield, or a wand. This one is easy enough to figure out. Do you want to have a boost in attack power, defense, or magic? The next series of questions are not so clear. You're suddenly on an island, but still very much in the dream, where these children ask you oddly deep questions like, what do you want out of life, and what are you afraid of? What should I pick? Getting old, being different, or being indecisive? Oh god. Yeah, Titus, getting old really is that scary. This is why I never open up to you, you emotionally shallow, hyena-laughing asshole. I guess your choices affect how the game calculates your experience growth throughout the game, but I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have known this without first looking it up on GameFAQs. You know, because it's 2002. The first boss fight of the game is a bit of a pushover, despite how intimidating he seems at first glance. This giant shadow with dreads and a six-pack spends most of the fight just aura farming rather than attacking. Sora wakes up on Destiny Island, his idyllic paradise home, and he's seemingly unfazed by the strange dream.
Sora, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you snoozing down here.
His hometown is actually on a larger island nearby, and this island is where he and his friends hang out during the day. Basically, this is like an island where latchkey children come to fight each other with swords and jump ropes, and nobody, especially not their probably alcoholic parents, would notice if one of them drowned, and I would bet money that some of the kids probably did already. So, let's get a lay of the land. You'll probably recognize these 3 kids immediately from your dream. It's Tidus and Waka from Final Fantasy X, and Selphie from 8. These specific entries were pretty popular at the time of Kingdom Hearts' release, so it made sense to front-load them. I don't think a lot of people were clamoring for a sick-ass Bart's Clouser cameo. I don't know, maybe he is in the game. Maybe he's one of the kids that drowned. Your time with these minor friends is pretty limited, and I'd wager they were originally just nameless NPCs before they got a Final Fantasy makeover for extra flavor. But there is some characterization shown, like Tidus and Waka talking about how they're inventing a game called Blitzball. That's a nice touch. Now for a not-so-nice touch. That's for mocking me when I opened myself up and showed you my emotional vulnerability, you asshole. No, Sora's real friends on this island are Riku and Kairi, and their introductory scene really tells you all you need to know about the dynamic of their relationship. Kairi is innocent but spunky. Riku is the sassy older brother figure that is very likely to give Sora a noogie at any given time. The boys have a natural competitiveness with each other, with Kairi being the object of Sora's affection, and Riku often shows up or one-ups his friend, not so much I think because he likes Kairi too, but because he wants to mess with Sora just for the fun of it. And in pretty much all your interactions with him, it's clearly established that he's the alpha male here. If you fight him, he'll do this bullshit kicky move that knocks you out right away. The worst part is he keeps score of how many losses you've racked up, and you just have to stand there in shame.
Shame.
We get it, Riku. You have the biggest cock on the island.
Well, I guess Kairi can always count on him.
Fuck you, Tidus! If you think your humiliation couldn't be more absolute, Riku will challenge you to a race, and no matter how hard you try, you will not win. Not because it's impossible, this isn't a pre-programmed event or anything, it's just that you won't win because the platforming in this game isn't the greatest, and especially not when requiring high speed and precision. I'm almost there. Ah, fuck! I'm fucked! Fuck! Oh, I am so fucked! Fuck! Damn it! Sora is pretty upset about his loss, so he goes to his quiet place, this mysterious cave on the island, and a special hangout spot that he and Kairi have been visiting since they were little. For the keen observer, you might notice some of these cave drawings foreshadow elements of things that we'll encounter throughout the game. Sora chasing Pluto, Sora in Atlantica, Sora fighting the occult, meeting Donald Duck, traveling the world, and this rock is just a face. Nothing significant about it at all. I named him Craig. Sora is reflecting on his life and his place in the world. The three friends have been building a raft to leave their island. Obviously, this probably wouldn't have worked. I think crossing the ocean on a raft made up of 2 logs, 1 cloth, and 1 rope is probably just a recipe for 3 more unreported child drownings for Destiny Island, but that's not really the point. The point is they want to see what's out there in the big wide world. Sora, for the sake of curiosity and adventure, Kairi to get some closure on where she came from, and Riku for the sake of getting the existential answers he's been craving.
It's just, I've always wondered why we're here, on this island. If there are any other worlds out there, why did we end up on this one?
While Riku wants the answers to the universe, clearly Sora's only real desire is that he and Kairi can stay together forever.
Whoa, who's there?
I've come to see the door to this world.
How long has this guy been standing there, and how did Sora not notice him until now? The mysterious figure warns Sora that his island will soon be eclipsed by darkness, and then he throws in a jab at the child for good measure.
You understand so little.
Oh yeah? Well, you'll see. I'm gonna get out and learn what's out there.
Listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude. He's trying to help you out.
That night, sure enough, trouble begins a-brewing on the island. Take a good look at Sora's bedroom now, because it's the last time we'll ever see it again. Oh, and Sora's mom, too.
Sora! Dinner's ready! Come on down! Sora?
We never get to learn what he was going to have for dinner either. And all Sora's had to eat all day was 2 coconuts, 3 mushrooms, 3 fish, 1 seagull egg.
Oatmeal, yogurt, coffee, orange juice, and toast. 2 poached eggs.
On the island, the shadow creatures from Sora's dream have come to life and begin attacking him. He flees, running into Riku, who's getting sucked up into a black vortex.
Once we step through, we might not be able to come back. We may never see our parents again. There's no turning back. But this may be our only chance.
Riku's starting to sound like he's in a cult or something, but due to the absence of Sora knowing what to say, or the presence of a Waco sniper, Riku fully drinks the Kool-Aid, embracing the darkness and getting swept away by it. To Sora's surprise, a giant key-shaped sword appears out of nowhere, allowing our hero to defend himself against the monsters. He goes looking for Kairi in the cave, only to discover that the mysterious door has opened. Darkness is flooding in, and it makes Kairi disappear before Sora's eyes. Things go downhill real fast, with the whole island beginning to crumble apart. Before he knows it, Sora too is taken away to lands unknown. Well, that was dark. Who wants a palate cleanser? We cut to Disney Castle, where we learn that Mickey Mouse is the king of... I don't know, Disneyland? The details of his monarchy aren't ever explained in much detail.
Who does he think he is?
I'm your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Disney Castle is interesting because it definitely seems like we were supposed to be able to play it at one point. Early beta footage shows Sora roaming around, and there's certain details we'd never see without hijacking the camera, like this framed photo of Mickey and Minnie. Also, fun fact, the topiaries in the garden are designed after the musicians in the 1935 short The Band Concert. The developers totally didn't need to include that detail, but I'm glad they did. Anyways, the king is missing, and he's left a note behind for his royal mage, Donald Duck, and his royal captain of the guard, Goofy, explaining that he's gone off to learn more about this strange darkness that's consuming worlds. He entrusts them to seek out the key bearer and guide him on his quest. Hey, I know somebody that just got a key.
We hope for your safe return. Please, help the king. You're coming too.
Sora wakes up in Traverse Town, a nexus where refugees from worlds swallowed by darkness wind up, like a deserted island for shipwrecked sailors.
Wait a minute. This isn't my world. Disappointed!
It's a place where everyone is probably scared, confused, and miserable. Meanwhile, the town's theme song is like... Aesthetically, Traverse Town is where they squeezed in all the Disney character representation that didn't fit into the main story. Like this Lady and the Tramp fountain, or this Mad Hatter shop, or this Uncle Remus statue, or this house belonging to the lost 101 Dalmatians that you'll be helping find throughout the game. 101 kids, are Pongo and Perdita Catholic or something? Damn. Sora wanders around looking for answers, and while things seem mostly chill, it's clear he's not out of danger yet. That dude's soul left his body like me every time I remember that when I was 15, I wanted to pursue a career in rapping. The shadow creatures are still chasing after Sora, but fortunately for us, we'll soon run into some Traverse Town residents that could shed some light on the situation. Sora meets Leon, Yuffie, and Aerith from Final Fantasy 8, 7, and 7, respectively. I guess we were originally going to get some more 10 representation by having Riku instead of Yuffie, but that idea got scrapped once the developers realized that the players might get confused about there being 2 Rikus. No, not Riku, Rik me! Your new friends are voiced by David Boreanaz, Mandy Moore, and Christy Carlson Romano. Those are some big names. Especially the last one, that's like 7 syllables. But it makes sense. This game had Disney money, and doing everything they could to appeal to a general American audience was paramount to this game's success. And in fairness, the actors all do a really decent job encapsulating their Final Fantasy counterparts. David Boreanaz does a really good job portraying the stoic, brooding, badass Leon.
It looks like things are worse than we thought. A lot worse.
Mandy Moore, the gentle, placable Aerith.
When the Heartless came, everything changed.
And Christy Carlson Romano, the quirky and upbeat Yuffie.
I think you might have overdone it, Squall.
I'm not gonna lie, Yuffie definitely did something for me when I was younger, and upon a revisit years later, I could see why. What proceeds is a massive lore dump, but I'll try to summarize. The shadow creatures are called Heartless. They are the darkness in a person's heart, given physical form. They seek out other hearts to devour or turn into more Heartless. Heartless is a confusing term to use because it probably makes it sound like they have no hearts, but that's not the case. Here, the term Heartless is metaphorical, like referring to cruelty and wickedness. They are literally hearts that have been corrupted. So they're not heartless, they're heartless. A less confusing name would have been something like Shadows, but I think the Persona series already had that name locked up. Thanks a lot, Jung, you Swiss asshole. Heartless are not unlike zombies in that their only real brain function is to create more Heartless. Each world in the universe has its own heart, and while people's hearts are like ground beef, a world's heart is like filet mignon. Serve that world's heart up with some potatoes au gratin and some mushrooms, and you've got a tasty meal for a Heartless. Mwah! And if a world's heart is like a filet mignon, Kingdom Hearts, the cumulative heart of all worlds, is the prime rib. I'm on a diet and haven't eaten red meat in a month, can you tell? So the Heartless are spreading darkness across the universe and consuming worlds, which is why the mysterious Keyblade has magically appeared to Sora. Each world has a door to its heart, a door opened to darkness. The Keyblade has the power to seal the keyhole in those doors, sealing the world from darkness entering it. At some point before the story, the door to darkness was opened, we'll get into that later, and it unleashed darkness across all the different worlds, and somehow this also caused the invisible barriers between the worlds to break, allowing for inter-world travel. Before now, most people weren't even aware that there were other worlds. But of course, Leon, Yuffie, and Aerith are refugees themselves, so that's how they know all of this. The Keyblade chose Sora, presumably because he's pure of heart, to seal the world's keyholes to prevent the spread of darkness. Sora has a righteous quest now, but he's really more interested in just finding his missing friends. Instead, he runs into 2 more weirdos.
Our king!
I'm sure I don't need to explain who Goofy and Donald Duck are, but I'm going to do it anyways. Donald first appeared in the 1934 Wise Little Hen Disney short. Donald's best known for his semi-intelligible way of speaking and his short temper. He's a pretty cool guy when he's not blowing his top or doing a Roman salute during an inauguration speech. Goofy was introduced even earlier in the 1932 short Mickey's Review. Goofy is a lovable half-wit with a big heart. You might recognize him best from his famous falling yell, and from his criminally unappreciated at the time feature film, which unsurprisingly took on even deeper significance to me once I became a father. The two were originally designed with more of a traditional fantasy aesthetic. I mean, Donald mostly stayed the same, but here's Goofy in full knight's armor with a sword. Disney quickly ex-nayed the sword though, since they thought it wouldn't be very becoming of Goofy to have a weapon. So instead, they gave him a shield, something he could use to defend his friends rather than hurt his enemies, which falls more in line with the Disney brand. Somebody forgot to tell this to old two-barrel mouse over here.
So these punks,
yes,
I don't know if they wanted money or they wanted something more sexual.
Wow.
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bah, bah. No, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot him in the back. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
Donald recognizes Sora as the same Keyblade wielder that King Mickey ordered them to follow, so he insists that they all team up for this journey to stop the Heartless. Sora has doubts about whether or not he'll really find his friends on this quest, so Donald and Goofy try to establish a bond by making him smile more.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Okay, why not? I'll go with you guys.
Name's Goofy.
I'm Sora.
All for one, one for all.
If I win, I'm captain. And if you win...
I get to share the Palpu with Kairi.
Huh?
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dustin' crops, boy. Sora wants to find his friends, Donald and Goofy want to find the king, but to get to all the different worlds, you'll need a vessel that could brave the perils of inner space. Gummies are pieces of the walls between worlds that broke when the door to darkness was opened. This somehow led to gummy blocks raining down like meteorites. Luckily for us, they're basically Legos, so we could use them to build a ship. Chip and Dale will be your guide through the building process. You can rotate and move around the pieces you want and connect them together, although you are limited in which parts you can connect to what, and unfortunately, your building table is very small and square-shaped, so my dream of building a spaceship that looks like a giant ding-dong will have to go unrealized.
Wiener?
I love Legos, so in theory, I should love this too, but I'll just play out some of the building process and maybe you'll see what the problem is. The reality is that actually putting these things together is incredibly cumbersome and the controls are obtuse and unwieldy. In my opinion. If you, like me, really suck at building these things, you'll be happy to know that the game provides a few ship templates you could use instead. These templates are based on Final Fantasy characters, and I guess they kind of look like them? If you squint, and you're wasted.
Bruh. Do a barrel roll.
The actual Gummi Ship gameplay is a rail shooter where you have to avoid meteors and other giant objects, collect items, and shoot down enemy Heartless ships. Which, man, so many questions there. Are they ships piloted by the Heartless? Aren't the Heartless supposed to be mindless? Are the ships themselves heartless? Are these like the vengeful souls of evil spaceships or something? Honestly, I don't think the Gummi Ship stuff is worth all the hate that it gets from the fans. It's just not particularly fun because it's not challenging at all. You could just sit there with your finger on the attack button and get through it 99% of the time, which then begs the question why it was included at all. Mercifully, the developers added a quick travel option you could unlock fairly early in the game, so we could skip all this malarkey and head straight to our first world. Alice in Wonderland was based on Lewis Carroll's 1865 book about a girl who falls through a rabbit hole and ends up in a trippy world called Wonderland. And like the Jefferson Airplane song, she is looking for somebody to love. Please, somebody under 40 tell me you got that joke. I'm going to be taking my son to Disneyland for his 5th birthday this year, and in the meantime, I've been doing everything I can to earn Disney dollars. I'm making this video not only to demonstrate my love for Kingdom Hearts, but also to petition the Walt Disney Company into giving me more Disney dollars. Give me more Disney dollars. In exchange, I'm going to squeeze in a few Disney facts for each Kingdom Hearts world. That's basically free advertising for you, Disney. All I ask for in exchange is some Disney dollars. Disney facts. Alice in Wonderland was Walt Disney's first project to be stuck in development hell. He originally started writing a script for it right after Snow White, but then he had to put it on pause for a while because a little thing got in the way called World War II. In 1951, a 10-year-old Catherine Beaumont voiced Alice, and the animators used her likeness in animating the character. Catherine would dress up as Alice and play her in real life for a promotional tour of the film. 50 years later, those crazy bastards at Square actually did it. They got Catherine to come back and voice Alice again.
I'm on trial? But why?
She's still alive and kicking, even now, by the way, so, you know, good for her. The film originally did poorly at the box office, but it gained popularity in the 70s once society realized that doing drugs is cool. There's 3 Disney facts for you. I know I swore and I said that doing drugs is cool, but if you could overlook that, Disney, I think you'll find that this was still a pretty good plug for your company. Now I hope you'll consider giving me some more Disney dollars. Walt Disney famously didn't care for how Alice in Wonderland turned out, and when it did poorly at the box office, Walt did his best to distance himself from the project.
I didn't do fucking shit! I didn't fucking do this!
And like Walt Disney, I also never cared for Alice in Wonderland. I felt like it had no real story and it was just a bunch of zany nonsense that amounted to nothing. So naturally, I'm not thrilled about this being the first Disney world we visit, but it is fitting. Like Alice, we are also lost and confused after stumbling into an unfamiliar world. Wonderland's design is fairly accurate to the movie, including having to drink potions to become big or small. Last time I drank a potion to get big, I had to wait 48 hours and then call my doctor.
This girl is the culprit. There's no doubt about it. And the reason is... because I say so, that's why!
Queen of Hearts, freaking Trace McNeil voicing every Disney character in existence. You're already voicing Daisy! You can't play 2 parts, this isn't freaking deadass nutty professor. Anyways, the Queen accuses Alice of stealing her heart, which is not something you should accuse a small child of for multiple reasons.
Can you have a seat over in that chair, please?
Sora wants to intervene on Alice's behalf, and this is when Goofy and Donald first bring up the issue of meddling in other worlds. It's an interesting dilemma for this game, and it makes sense since it gives our heroes a moral justification, kind of, for not completely rewriting the plot of these Disney stories and letting them more or less play out as they're supposed to. Imagine how much everything would go to crap if King Mickey decided to get involved with everything. Like, imagine if King Mickey decided he was gonna bomb Agrabah in the middle of the night, only for Jafar to be replaced with the even more evil Jafar Jr., and then Agrabah retaliated by blockading the Gummi Ship routes, and Gummi gas prices began to skyrocket. Only a complete knobhead would think that that was a good idea. So, for the most part, Goofy and Donald insist that Sora doesn't interfere. But, you know what? Sora is a good boy with a good heart, and he isn't going to stand by and watch an innocent person suffer, so he does what he can to help. The Queen gives Sora an opportunity to go fetch evidence to clear Alice's name, which leads us to exploring Wonderland on a scavenger hunt. If you find her soul, you must parole. The design of Wonderland is weirdly like a diorama, or like a facade of an outdoor location. It looks like one of those children's indoor playgrounds inside an industrial warehouse where clouds and trees are painted on the walls. It was a weird choice because there are outdoor locations in this game, so why didn't they just make Wonderland a skybox? While I'm complaining, the Tea Garden area where we first meet the Mad Hatter is completely abandoned, save for this weird cardboard cutout of the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. I know it was probably a hardware limitation of the PlayStation 2, but the lack of NPCs in Kingdom Hearts can be pretty noticeable sometimes, especially here. The Cheshire Cat does appear occasionally to offer hints, and he even gives you the Blizzard ability at one point. In the Lotus Forest, you'll run into these talking flowers, which prompt you for specific items, and handing them over will unlock new paths. Kingdom Hearts does a good job in subtly preparing you for gameplay challenges you'll face later on. These flower puzzles are simple, but it teaches you that you could target your allies for items, something you may not have known otherwise, and probably not in the heat of battle. Sora and friends deliver the evidence, but the Queen decides it's off with Alice's head anyways, which leads to a boss fight with her guards. A great detail is that if you smack the Queen herself, she'll fall over, exposing her bloomers like in the movie. After the fight, we find Alice is missing. It seems someone kidnapped her while we were distracted. How did someone get her out of a locked cage without us noticing? That's some Chris Angel shit. When going back to the Bazaar Room, we find the thing we've been looking for. The creature that stole the Queen of Hearts' heart. It's a jester-themed Heartless, and honestly, it's kind of a pain. It's awkwardly too tall to reach, so you have to keep climbing this table and jumping off to try to land a few aerial strikes at him, fall down, try again, rinse and repeat 1,000 times. At one point, he uses the nearby stove to light his torches, which he then uses to toss fireballs at you. This is the most dangerous move he has, but there is a defense for it. Using Blizzard on the stove itself will prevent him from lighting his torches. Just like the flowers teaching you about using targeted items, the Cheshire Cat giving you Blizzard specifically is the game's way of signaling to you that you'll need to use it soon. After defeating the Heartless, the doorknob opens its mouth to reveal the heart of the world. Sora's Keyblade closes it, sealing Wonderland away from the Heartless. Sora's like, "I'm gonna shove my key down your throat." And the doorknob is like, "I don't know what kind of doorknob you think I am, but I don't do that." This becomes the template for the remainder of the game. Go to a new world, find its world keyhole, and seal it, blocking off the world's heart so it can't be consumed by the Heartless. Sora is basically using the Keyblade to lock the chastity belt on a world to prevent the Heartless from fucking it. You know? Sometimes I amaze even myself. This script is gold. I hope you've all subscribed by now. After sealing the keyhole in Wonderland, we get to witness this goofy-ass Dr. Evil roundtable meeting of several Disney villains cloaked in shadow, watching Sora's progress via magic crystal ball, and lamenting that our boy might be a foil to their wicked plans.
That little squirt took down that Heartless. Who'd have thought it?
The identity of these villains isn't revealed, but come on. Am I really not supposed to know that this is Captain Hook? Am I not supposed to know that this is Ursula? By the way, how the hell is she on dry land? Maleficent, the evil fairy from Sleeping Beauty, is appropriately the big bad in charge of this motley crew. I say appropriately because she's one of the few Disney villains that ever had her shit together, and she fits into the Kingdom Hearts story very smoothly. Maleficent is trying to unlock Kingdom Hearts, the ultimate MacGuffin in this game, a place that she believes will grant her unlimited power to rule the universe. Kingdom Hearts is on the other side of something called the Door to Darkness, and it can only be unlocked by the power of 7 pure hearts, because thematically that sounds cool, and also because magic. So the Disney villains are on the hunt for 7 of the Disney princesses with the pure hearts that they need. We even see that they've already succeeded in kidnapping a few of these so-called princesses of heart, and have recently captured another. Although, you know, Alice is about as much of a Disney princess as Judy Hopps, but whatever. I get that they couldn't figure out how to get Ariel on dry land. A sea creature on dry land would be ridiculous. Fun fact, the beginning of the game straight up tells you which Disney princesses have already been snatched up, and by extension, whose worlds we won't get to visit in this game. Snow White, Cinderella, Princess Aurora, and Belle. The stained glass mosaics, in hindsight, are almost like a mausoleum for these kidnapped princesses. Also, notice how these 4 are all depicted asleep? Their hearts and worlds were stolen, and they're in a figurative sleep, and somehow their hearts were able to make contact with Sora's. Maybe they were calling out for help. Speaking of Sora, I haven't talked much about him so far, but that's because most of his character has been self-evident. He's an innocent, adventure-loving boy, and what you see is what you get. That isn't to say that his character is shallow. We've seen him already react to things emotionally, and he's made a few knucklehead decisions. But the thing that really makes Sora special is his unwavering resolve to always help others, even at his own expense. And in a universe of people vying for power, lashing out from anger, and making moral compromises, Sora has been steadfast in following the values of his heart. And that makes him an excellent protagonist. Maybe these shadowy Disney villains have something to worry about after all. Deep Jungle begins with Sora and Donald fighting over the controls of the Gummi Ship. Sora wants to search for Riku and Kairi down there, but Donald wants to keep moving. Their ensuing struggle causes them to crash land in this treehouse, and Donald's position is immediately validated when Sora is attacked by a leopard, like the moment he lands. 1999's Tarzan is about a young, pre-whale Brendan Fraser being raised by gorillas and later coming into contact with human explorers, which causes him to start questioning his identity. It was considered the last good film that Disney would make for a while, ending their Renaissance era that started with The Little Mermaid. I was born in 1989, so I got to live through the best years of Disney, but somehow I never saw Tarzan when it first came out. I did watch it eventually in my 20s, and I was blown away by the animation. I still to this day think that it's the most visually impressive and best animated Disney film by a landslide. I guess there's a pretty complex history here with what they were and weren't allowed to license and for how long, so it's honestly impressive that Disney was able to finagle a deal to borrow Tarzan again for Kingdom Hearts. Imagine explaining to this old bastard from the turn of the century that someday the star of his novel will fight shadow monsters with this anime teenager and also Donald Duck and Goofy.
Disney facts.
Walt Disney was born only about 30 years after Burroughs, so the timelines of their careers partially overlapped. After Snow White, Burroughs even reached out to Disney to try to get an animated Tarzan TV show made. It didn't happen, of course, but it's pretty cool that a movie would materialize decades later. One of the reasons the animation is so impressive is the artists at Disney created a rendering technique called deep canvassing, where basically they would create a 3D environment to match the primary 2D animation of Tarzan, and then draw textures and apply them to the objects in 3D. So, like, artists would draw the trees and foliage, then map them to the 3D trees, so they didn't need to redraw everything frame by frame for these elaborate jungle swinging scenes. Phil Collins sang all the songs in Tarzan, not just in English, but in Spanish, German, French, and Italian. What a legend. So Tarzan appears just in time to rescue Sora from the leopard. Donald and Goofy have landed elsewhere, and Sora sees this as an opportunity to ditch his anthropomorphic animal friends for his true human friends.
Riku and Kairi.
Look for Riku.
Right away, I think Deep Jungle is already a massive improvement over Wonderland, and just how large and open it feels, with more things to find and places to explore. No weird indoor child's play place for us. We've got a skybox now, baby. Tarzan is your first world-specific party member. When these characters get introduced, you could swap them for either Donald or Goofy, since you could only have 2 partners at a time. I don't like to mess with the party dynamic very often, but there are big advantages to using your temporary allies. They're usually a few levels ahead of you, and that can make a big difference in battles. Plus, if you're a real Disney-phile, a lot of their special moves are inspired by their actions in their respective films. Which might seem obvious, but you know, The developers could have just let Tarzan cast Thundaga or something, but they didn't. They gave him spear moves because they respected the source material. Vine sliding was a huge part of Tarzan's appeal and one of the most iconic things from his movie, and I too managed to vine slide with a similar grace. In the campsite, you'll find a lot of little details from the film, including the teapots and cups that parody Beauty and the Beast, the chemistry lab, and this globe of the Earth. The fact that Deep Jungle takes place in West Africa raises even more questions about how the worlds work in the Kingdom Hearts universe, but I can't get into that right now, or else this video would never end. This is where Sora reunites with Donald and Goofy, and where he meets Tarzan's girlfriend Jane, and Clayton, a poacher obsessed with finding some gorillas. Clayton, why do you care about a bunch of dumb apes when you've got... I mean, come on. You've got a talking duck who knows magic, and a talking... dog? Dingo. Malnourished cow? Tarzan and Clayton are voiced by the original VAs Tony Goldwyn and Brian Blessed, respectively. Brian Blessed is best known for his work in Shakespeare adaptations like Henry V and Hamlet, and also he makes the funny noises sometimes. Unfortunately, Disney couldn't get Minnie Driver to come back as Jane because she was too busy filming Return to Me, a film that, ironically, has David Duchovny falling in love with Driver after she gets a heart transplant from a gorilla. Or at least I think that's what happened. I haven't seen this one in a while. Clayton suggests Sora's missing friends must be with the gorillas, and he insists that Tarzan show them where the elusive gorilla habitat is. Which I guess is a lie that somebody might tell if they just wanted to shoot some gorillas, but let's let them come with us anyways. Tetsuya Nomura once said that Mario 64 was a huge inspiration for the platforming of Kingdom Hearts. You've gotta love his ambition. I mean, an action platformer JRPG was a really novel concept at the time, but damn does this game not stick the landing. The platforming in the series, especially in the first game, always feels really sticky and imprecise, and doing something as simple as jumping vine to vine is enough to drive a person to madness.
Miss! What's the big idea?
Back at the camp, Jane catches wind of Clayton's treachery, and she forbids him from getting near the gorillas again. Despite the condemnation, Clayton remains comically unbothered and undeterred.
Blasted gorillas! I'll hunt down every last one of them!
No!
In the original PS2 version of the game, you couldn't skip cutscenes, and for many, this boss fight was the first real challenge of the game. That being the case, the words,
Clayton?
Not Clayton. Not Clayton.
Will be burned into your memory forever. The first half of this fight is a huge pain. It's like, come on, man. I'm a 14-year-old boy. You're a full-grown man with a gun. I thought we were supposed to be in an African jungle, not an American school. Things get really difficult once Clayton hops on board this giant Heartless that's taken the form of a camouflaged chameleon. After they're both defeated, the Heartless flops over and squishes its rider. Still a less horrific death for Clayton than in the film. Damn, that's dark for a Disney movie. The thankful gorillas then yeet Sora into a waterfall, which just happens to be the location of this world's keyhole. After sealing the keyhole, Sora and Donald apologize and make up. It's a small bit of character development, but it is something. I do think it's fitting that this plot point was chosen for the Tarzan world specifically. One of the messages of that film was about embracing an adoptive family, as sometimes they end up being the people that care about you the most. Likewise, Sora's journey started with his search for Riku and Kairi, but fate led him to these two adoptive friends instead. And who knows, they may end up being better friends anyways, since they probably won't beat her ass with a wooden sword.
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
I really love the enemy design in this game. From the basic low-level Shadow Heartless to these giant behemoth baddies that look like they were designed by Guy Fieri. The creatures you'll come across throughout this universe are just so fun and creative. Now, you may be wondering what this symbol is and why it's only on some of them. There's two kinds of Heartless, natural ones and artificial ones. The fake ones were made by name redacted due to spoilers, and they're called Emblem Heartless due to the symbol that could be found somewhere on their bodies. Real, natural Heartless are pretty easy to spot. They're usually these dark, shadowy kind of creatures. I don't know. I like them all. Real, fake, so long as they're big and so long as they shake. Right, fellas? Many of these Heartless take on an appearance to fit into the world they're in, like these bandit Heartless in Agrabah or these monkey Heartless in Deep Jungle. There's also this mushroom family which have very specific requirements for defeating them. The rare truffles require that you boop them into the air and play a game of keepy-uppy with them. This black one will turn into stone and be immune to attacks for a while. These white ones won't fight you at all, but instead they'll play charades with you, and if you could correctly guess which magic spell to use on them, they'll give you a little prize. For example, use fire when they're shivering, ice when they're hot, and when they have this death glow, they're hinting that they want your help pulling the plug on their life support. Hades, Lord of the Underworld, working for Maleficent, hires bounty hunter Cloud Strife to beat up a child. You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, to figure that out, we need to take a few steps back.
Oh, Hercules, Hercules! Disney facts.
Hercules was directed by Ron Clements and John Musker, who also directed Aladdin and The Little Mermaid. Speaking of which, Hercules and Triton are actually cousins, since Poseidon is Triton's dad and Triton is Zeus's brother, which would make Ariel Hercules' first cousin once removed. In the subsequent Hercules TV show, there's a crossover episode with Aladdin where Jafar meets Hades in the underworld, and they decide to do a mother-lover-esque switch-up, with Hades trying to defeat Aladdin and Jafar trying to defeat Hercules. Released in 1997, Hercules is about the son of Zeus living on Earth and trying to become a hero so that he could one day return to his home of Olympus. Obviously, Disney took a lot of liberties with the Greek myths here, since a good chunk of Greek mythology does not make for a G-rated, family-friendly tale. Like, Zeus in this movie doesn't turn into a swan and try to fuck another man's wife, for example, while still in swan form, for example. Fittingly, modern Greeks really hated this movie, as Disney basically Americanized their cultural myths by turning Hercules into Superman. Like Tarzan, I missed the ship when this movie originally came out, but I saw it much later in life and liked it a lot. Maybe not so much as some of the other Disney movies represented in this game, but it's still a good one, and some lines from the film still crack me up.
Get it down! Suffocating! Somebody call IXII!
Ha!
Olympus Coliseum is in almost every Kingdom Hearts game as the place where you could train and fight special bosses. The Kingdom Hearts games don't really have side quests, so the Coliseum is the closest thing to that.
Give me a hand, will you? I gotta spruce this place up for the game. Yay!
Danny DeVito, sadly, didn't return to voice Phil, but he is voiced by a guy who sounds a lot like him. He's a Danny DeVito satire, you might say. Sora and friends want to compete in the Coliseum games, compelled to win, especially due to Phil calling them a bunch of pussies, and Hades, Lord of the Underworld, urging them to compete, though it's fairly transparent that he just wants them to be killed by a giant three-headed dog. Hades is voiced by his original voice actor, James Woods, a man who, for me, is the epitome of love the art, not the artist. He's not the sort of person I think I would get along with, but his performance of Hades is so good, and he never half-asses it, even for a moment.
Oh, hey, how you doing, everybody? Yeah, got a minute? Hades, Lord of the Dead, nice to see you. Good luck, kid. I'm pulling for you, little shorty. Phew. Stiffer than the stiffs back home.
Hades hires Cloud Strife to compete in the games, believing the mercenary might be strong enough to kill the Keyblade Master. But just to be sure, he imbues him with dark power, which Cloud reluctantly accepts. If you're familiar with the character at all, you'll know that his big character arc is him coming to terms with his inner demon.
Separiah.
I love that all the full-grown men in this game have absolutely no qualms about beating up this child. I feel like we're in the 50s or something. On the other hand, Cloud's new design for this game looks dope as shit. It's a little over the top, but at least he doesn't have 30 zippers. Cloud doesn't go through with finishing Sora off, so Hades sends in Cerberus to do the job. Fortunately, Hercules steps in out of nowhere to give our heroes a chance to escape. What's really strange about this part is that it takes you back to the lobby, clearly so you have an opportunity to save before the boss fight, but it's just so anticlimactic. Like, you can literally leave the world and go do a bunch of other stuff and come back days later to find Hercules still fighting Cerberus. It really tosses out any sense of urgency. The fight against Cerberus, for me at least, was even more difficult than Clayton, and the first time I really struggled with a boss. He shoots fireballs, he stamps around like an angry toddler, and he snips at you if you get too close. Honestly, the only safe space is the blind spot on his back. There's really nothing for you to do up there other than admire the view and reconsider your life choices.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
After beating Cerberus and saving Hercules, Phil awards Sora and friends with the title Junior Heroes, which seems more patronizing than just calling them pussies again. Sora is competitive by nature, something we learned pretty quickly on Destiny Island, and I think there is some character growth for him here, going from fighting for vanity's sake to fighting to save others. Hercules offers his thanks too, and he's voiced by Sean Astin.
Potatoes!
Of all people, because his original voice actor Tate Donovan was too busy working on the OC. Remember him? He was Marissa's dad. He could have lived in glory and made his mark in Kingdom Hearts history, but instead he chose this role that nobody remembers, the idiot. Oh, I guess he did come back for Kingdom Hearts 2. But still.
I tried to exploit the power of darkness, but it backfired.
Cloud apologizes to Sora for giving into the darkness, and he serves as an important example that redemption exists in abundance in the Kingdom Hearts universe. That people could turn back to good even after being consumed by evil, and this will come into play a lot more later. Cloud then gives Sora his Sonic Blade special ability, like he just hands it to you. Like he just hands you the concept of his signature combat move, and now you know how to perform it, because that's how that works. This is easily the smallest Disney world in the game, with just the Coliseum area being represented for Hercules, so that's pretty lame. But if you view the Coliseum as just side content coded with a Disney theme to justify its existence, then it's pretty cool. The parallels from Hercules to Sora's journey aren't immediately obvious. In the film, Hercules goes through his 12 labors to prove he's a hero, which mostly just consists of fighting monsters, but it's not until he sacrifices his life to save his love that he discovers what it truly means to be a hero. In the Olympus Coliseum, all you do is fight monsters, so it seems to be a contradicting message here. Like, Sora got the title of Junior Hero just from beating enough Heartless. The thing, though, is that Hercules suggests they'll have to find out for themselves what it means to be a hero, meaning Sora at that point really hasn't proven himself yet. No, it would take a similar selfless sacrifice for Sora to truly understand what it means to be heroic. And it won't be too long before he gets that opportunity.
The door is open, Sora. Now we can go to the outside world.
What are you talking about?
We can't let fear stop us. I'm not afraid of the darkness.
So, this is the key.
The Heartless have great fear of the Keyblade. That's why they'll keep coming after you, no matter what.
Looks like I'm headed for the games.
Afraid not.
Why not?
2 words. You guys ain't heroes.
Come on.
I kind of glossed over Traverse Town, so let's take a trip back there and take a look at some new things. There's sadly only one item shop in the whole game, but fortunately for us, it's run by Huey, Lewis, and the News, Donald's nephews, who are also the children of Scrooge McDuck. No, wait, he's their great-uncle. It gets confusing. But either way, surely they'll give us like a duck discount or something, right? 60 monies for a potion? In this economy? And they want a tip? So these little quackers are trying their best to rip us off, but sadly, they more or less have a monopoly on potions and ethers, so for now, we're kinda screwed. Later on, the Moogles from Final Fantasy will open a shop upstairs, and it's a slightly better value proposition. The Synth Shop lets you trade materials you collect from defeating Heartless and exchange them for rare items and weapons, like elixirs and mithril. Many of the better items require materials you can only get from rare Heartless, so trying to 100% the game by synthesizing everything could be a huge chore, and I don't really think it's worth it. But that's just me. The one item that might be worth it is naturally the hardest one to acquire, the Ultima weapon, Sora's best Keyblade in the game. What is this shit? This looks like a fancy wedding cake.
Oh no!
Speaking of Keyblades, you'll get a new one every time you seal a world from the darkness, and they're mostly all themed after their respective worlds. We don't automatically get one from Wonderland, but we did get the Jungle King from Tarzan's world and the Metal Chocobo from Olympus. There's 18 Keyblades in total in the first game, and their designs are really creative, although sometimes maybe not the most functional. I mean, look at this little crab. Tell me that wouldn't just immediately snap off like a hood ornament.
So sad when that happens.
Aesthetically speaking, I think my runner-ups for the coolest designs are the Lionheart and Oblivion. And my favorite is probably the Three Wishes, but that's also probably because I'm such an Aladdin cuck. We'll get to that. Another cool thing in Traverse Town is this hut where you'll meet Merlin, the famous wizard from The Sword and the Stone, a film about a boy trying his darndest to not have sex with a squirrel. Merlin will give you a crash course on magic and provide a practice room if you want to get the hang of spells without worrying about using up your MP. Also here is the fairy godmother from Cinderella, but she doesn't really do anything. She's just depressed. She just keeps saying depressing shit. Oh man. For taking up so much real estate in Traverse Town, Merlin's hut really doesn't seem all that Oh? What's this? Some sort of magical book? Sweet! We finally get a world based on my favorite film, Blood and Honey. I guess I should talk about the Kingdom Hearts Pooh world, at least for a bit. It's just a bunch of mini-games. One of them is just you pushing Pooh on a swing.
You thinking what I'm thinking, partner? Aim for the bushes.
Watch him as he goes.
Next stop on our Traverse Town tour is this weird factory. Oh my god, it's Riku.
Riku!
Hey, cut it out.
I'm not dreaming this time. Right?
I hope not. Took forever to find you.
The friends are happy to see each other, but Sora's dismayed to learn that Kairi isn't with Riku and is still missing. And Riku's shocked to see that Sora isn't a weak little bitch anymore. Look at him holding that pose for dramatic effect. He knows what he's doing. The two catch up, but it's clear that something's wrong. Riku seems a little jealous of Sora being the Keyblade wielder and a little put off by his new friends. Well, as it turns out, when Riku was swept away from Destiny Island, he wound up in Maleficent's world and was taken in by her. And now, she's brought Riku to Traverse Town, but not for innocent reasons.
While you toiled away trying to find your dear friend, he quite simply replaced you with some new companions. Evidently, now he values them far more than he does you.
She whispers in his ear like a regular worm tongue, trying to drive a wedge between Riku and Sora.
Now think no more of him and come with me. I'll help you find what you're searching for.
With very few exceptions, most RPGs before Kingdom Hearts were turn-based. I like taking my time and strategizing my moves, but you know, some people have short attention spans and find that kind of thing boring. And while Square basically became famous for doing turn-based RPGs, they were also known to mix it up once in a while, like with Secret of Mana or Chrono Trigger. An RPG that was fully action-oriented while still using strategy was the next logical step. Z-targeting, a concept popularized by Ocarina of Time, has an important role in combat, as it allows you to keep track of your adversary so the battles don't get too chaotic. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still get pretty chaotic. The lock-on is crucial in what makes the combat not only function, but also feel so satisfying. It lets you close the gap between you and the enemy and go apeshit button mashing without having to worry about the camera or anything else getting in the way.
He's already dead!
Now, some may criticize this game for being a button masher, and a lot of the time it is, but one-on-one duels really demonstrate the nuance of this battle system. If you don't believe me, go play one of the Coliseum battles without Goofy or Donald, or fight a boss when you're under-leveled. The Kingdom Hearts games often have extreme difficulty spikes, I believe, to force you to take full advantage of the moves available to you and strategize accordingly. Some enemies are weak to certain elements. Sometimes you're better off blocking than dodging. It's really only a button masher if you're over-leveled to the point that strategy becomes redundant. Otherwise, you do need to choose your actions wisely and quickly, and that's where the fun and the challenge lies. More on that, several enemies are specifically designed to break your rhythm. Big Heartless are nearly invincible from the front, requiring you to make like a brother trying to get some action on the dance floor and smack that fat ass from behind. Flying enemies require you to jump and chase them around. In this way, the game forces you to adapt your playstyle often so that things don't get boring or repetitive. Kingdom Hearts' combat seems like it was scientifically designed to be as enjoyable as possible. Defeating an enemy turns them into an explosion of health balls and money. The magic spells in this game are the same magics native to the Final Fantasy series used since the very first game. There's all the elemental attacks like thunder and ice, but throughout your journey you'll also be able to upgrade these magics just like in Final Fantasy. So fire will become Fyra, for example, and later Fyra will become Viagra. If you want to get your partner hot and bothered, choose Viagra. Fun fact, I wrote this joke in 2007 when I was designing RPG Maker games. And 19 years later, I'm finally using this joke in a video. Talk about a return on your investment, huh? There's also the non-elemental spells like Stop, which freezes time, Arrow, which gives you a temporary shield, and Gravity, which smooshes enemies down to the ground, and it's probably the most overpowered offensive spell in the game. You have the option of assigning a magic spell to one of your 3 shortcut buttons, which is nice since trying to navigate the menu during combat is functionally useless since you'll just get swarmed by enemies while you're scrolling through the menu, but it would have been nice to get more than just 3 shortcuts. Then of course there's Cure, the spell that you'll be using the most, so you might as well assign it to one of your shortcut buttons now. I personally like it on the square button. Hit like on this video if you're a square button Cure sort of person. Also hit like on this video if you're a circle button Cure or triangle button Cure sort of person. Do it. Donald and Goofy will help you out in battle too, and they have their own moves and abilities, and of course, they could use whatever items they have equipped. Donald blasts through potions and ethers like my ex-wife blasting through my wallet. Abilities are special moves you could use in battle, and you'll automatically acquire them when you reach certain levels. They range from absolute essential like block or dodge roll, to the less useful but still cool Zentutsuken. Your AP limits the amount of abilities you can have equipped at one time, and you'll often have to adjust depending on the challenge. For example, if you're having a hard time with a boss, sometimes the best thing to do is unequip anything that won't directly help you, and that will free up AP for you to then equip more suitable abilities. You never have quite enough AP to equip all the skills you want, and so you're constantly going to be considering, what do I need versus what can I let go? Also, some of them, like Strike Raid, are just so wonderfully broken in this game. I know I joked earlier about the fairy godmother not doing anything, but she actually unlocks summon orbs, which allow you to summon powerful Disney characters to aid you in battle. Also, Bambi is there. Summons can only be used once in battle, so you have to think carefully about who would best help you in your situation. Some heal you, some help you attack, and some you could shrink down and ride around on like you're a filthy little rat. Simba is your very first summon, and he was Tetsuya Nomura's favorite Disney character at the time. When he first pitched Sora to the Disney execs producing the game, Nomura drew him as a lion boy that looked a lot like Simba. This design didn't stick, obviously, but you could tell that his love of the lion cub was probably why Simba got to be the first summon. Incidentally, Nomura pushed for a Lion King world to be included in the first game, but the developers were having trouble animating and getting the physics to work for four-legged beasts, so they saved the idea for later. So that's the combat in a nutshell. You could attack, you could use magic, abilities, you could summon Mushu and completely cheat. It's great. And if you think this is fun, wait till you see all the improvements to the combat they made in Kingdom Hearts 2. Holy crap. Aladdin is a 1992 film about a young desert hobo who calls upon supernatural forces to woo a princess and tricking her into falling in love with him by convincing her he's actually royalty himself. Nowadays, we'd just call that catfishing. This film also has the unique claim of having the only live-action remake that wasn't completely terrible. I mean, it wasn't good, but at least it wasn't totally boring. Actually, I guess The Jungle Book was pretty good too, but that story gets no love in the Kingdom Hearts series, so whatever. Aladdin, by a wide mile, was my favorite Disney film growing up, because it was the last one for quite some time that starred a young man and not just a princess or a talking animal, or whatever. Look, we all need role models, and I just couldn't relate to lions. I also loved Robin Williams, of course, and thought Genie was a riot. And Princess Jasmine, with her bare midriff, awakened something primal in me as a kid. The story is loosely based on Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, an Arabian folk tale. Obviously, it's a family-friendly version of the tale, unlike other iterations like The Thief of Baghdad, a film that used to play late at night on TCM, and it scared the living crap out of me. Go watch the movie. Jafar straight up murders the Sultan. Imagine being 4 years old and watching this, thinking it was just gonna be a fun, live-action Disney movie. Anyways, here's some Disney facts. Haha, Disney facts. Aladdin was originally going to be a young boy, but he had to be aged up to match Jasmine's character so that their romance wouldn't be, weird. Aladdin's design was also based on Tom Cruise, which would explain all the running. This one isn't really a fact about the movie, more like a somewhat relevant anecdote, but nevertheless, you will listen to it, whether you like it or not. A Whole New World was so iconic to me that I tried parodying it whenever possible. In my unrealized film, Cloudman, I did my own homage to the Magic Carpet Ride. I made this in 2009, and it might be my oldest surviving evidence of my video editing. I dropped out of college to pursue independent filmmaking, thinking that Cloudman was going to be my ticket to Hollywood. My dad told me that I was a fool and that I would never make it in show business. Well, now, I'm making $300 a month on YouTube videos, so who's laughing now, Dad? The final cut of the film was dramatically altered from its original draft. Huge chunks of the story were cut for time, including a whopping 8 songs already fully written and done, many of which featured Jafar.
Trepidation, terror in the hearts of those who kept me out of power!
Imagine a world where we could have had more Jafar singing. I want to live in that world. I want to live in the more Jafar singing one. This world sucks. Jafar is the scheming vizier of the Sultan of the Arabian-inspired world of Agrabah, and in this game, he believes that unlocking Kingdom Hearts will grant him the power he needs to take over and rule the universe. Incidentally, this is the same goal that many of the other Disney villains have, which makes you wonder what their end game is. Like, they can't all rule the universe. At what point would they start backstabbing each other? But I guess they would cross that bridge when they got to it. Jafar's been instructed by Maleficent to kidnap Jasmine since she's a princess of heart, one of 7 needed to open the door to the mysterious Kingdom Hearts. But unfortunately for him, Jasmine is an expert at tactical espionage action. Agrabah is fascinating to me in just how bizarre it feels. The Deep Jungle or Wonderland are perfect caricatures of the worlds they're meant to represent because they're supposed to be mostly empty. Agrabah, on the other hand, is supposed to be full of bustling marketplaces, but instead they're all deserted here, with scarcely an explanation why. Obviously, the real answer is that it'd be more difficult than not for the developers to populate a town full of resource-hogging NPCs, and also the NPCs would have to react to the Heartless attacks like,
"What the hell is even that?"
It just feels so strange and dystopian that there's like no townspeople in Agrabah. I mean, who's gonna be there to watch Prince Abubu ride in on his big giant elephant for a self-indulgent parade in what is easily the best song of the film? Yes, even more than A Whole New World. Yes, I said it, and no, I won't apologize for it. Our boys find the princess, and she tells them to go get help from Aladdin, who's gone off to the mythical Cave of Wonders. When we head that way, we immediately find this chucklehead sinking in quicksand. Ah, quicksand, the bane of every 90s kid's existence. Well, that and getting eaten by piranhas. And being in a room where the walls are closing in with spikes. And 9/11. Sora helps Aladdin out of the quicksand, and Aladdin, who by this point has already found Genie and the magic lamp, uses his first wish to get rid of, like, 3 basic Heartless. You didn't have to waste your wish like that, dude. Our party tends to interject themselves a bit obtusely into the affairs of these Disney worlds, but for Aladdin, it works well enough. Really, the only change to the original story is that Jafar is looking for Jasmine because she's a princess of heart, and not just because he wants to bang her.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So honestly, it's a pretty faithful retelling of Aladdin, made even more genuine by the returning voice cast. We are eating good tonight, boys, because everyone is back. Jonathan Freeman as Jafar.
Well, if the princess is that important, we'll find her.
Gilbert Gottfried as Iago.
She's disappeared like magic.
Linda Larkin as Jasmine.
Who's there? Hello?
And Scott Winger as Aladdin.
I found that magic carpet. And this lamp.
The only one missing here is Robin Williams, who's voiced by Homer Simpson instead.
The one and only Genie of the Lamp! Rub-a-dub-dub the lamp and have your dearest wishes granted.
And while he does a good job, the moment I mentioned it's Homer Simpson, that's all you'll hear from now on, isn't it?
You robbed? You must like me. You really, really like me. Good morning, Ramadan. Come to Crazy Fayettie's. Our prices are Hussein.
Jafar shows up and uses Iago to steal the lamp away from Aladdin. It really was that simple.
I'm sorry, Al. My leg!
To the desert! Come on, let's move!
So we backtrack to the desert and make our way into the giant tiger mouth like the badass diamonds in the rough we are. The inside of the cave can be confusing to navigate with its top level and even more maze-like lower areas, but in a good way, like this is a proper dungeon.
That boy again?
He is more persistent than I expected.
Inside the inner corridor, our party faces off against Jafar, who's a real pushover here, even with Genie aiding him. The real battle begins once Jafar makes Genie turn him into a super swole, roided out Genie himself. But surprisingly, even red-hot Giga Chad Jafar can't do much to stop us. All you really have to do is wail on Iago, who's carrying the lamp, and avoid the giant rocks that Jafar half-assedly tosses vaguely in your direction. The rest of the time, he's too distracted looks-maxing to pay you much attention.
Okay, Jafar. Back to your lamp.
No, you're just jealous because I'm a swole alpha male and you're just a zero gains beta cup. Sora finds the keyhole for Agrabah and seals it, which prompts the cave to start collapsing. Jasmine is nowhere to be seen, as during your fight, she was snatched by an unknown assailant. My money is on Link, that booty-loving rascal.
I like big butts.
There's a very short carpet-flying minigame as you escape the Cave of Wonders. It plays like crap, but it's a nice touch nevertheless. Genie suggests that Aladdin use his last wish to find Jasmine, but Aladdin instead uses it to free Genie, keeping his word on a promise that he made earlier.
Genie, it's a promise.
Good for you, Aladdin. Homie's over hose.
Bitch, can't you see? Fall back away from me.
Then Aladdin suggests, hey, how about instead of using my wish, I just join you on the Gummi Ship? We'll put a team together like the Avengers, but with Tarzan and Hercules, you know, all the strongest, and Ariel. Yeah, and Ariel. Or maybe Genie could just go with you guys as a summon. Personally, I really like Genie coming along with us and having a story justification for being a summon. Most of the other summons in this game are just like, here's Dumbo, just because. Here's freaking Bambi. Wait, doesn't Genie coming along count as
muddling?
Well, let's not dwell on that, I guess. After helping out Aladdin, we get another peek at the Evil Council meeting.
What is the evil council's plan?
It is evil. It is so evil. It is a bad, bad plan that will hurt many people that are good. I think it's great.
We learn that Riku was in fact the one that kidnapped Jasmine, performing Maleficent's bidding. In return, she offers him what he's always truly wanted, a small hologram of an unconscious Kairi to spank it to. Maleficent then orders Captain Hook to take Riku to go get her. Incidentally, there's always been a bit of unintentional mystery about where Kairi's body wound up after Destiny Island, and we kinda unofficially got the answer years later in this trailer for the cancelled sequel to Birth by Sleep. It shows Riku carrying a comatose Kairi away from Big Ben, which would seem to imply that this is where she wound up, and it would fit perfectly into the story. Hook is nearby, Hook has a flying ship, that's why Maleficent sent him and Riku to go get her there. Bing bang boom. But it hasn't been officially confirmed, so take that with a grain of salt. Either way, Riku will soon be reunited with Kairi, but at what cost? Now that Agrabah is behind us, it's time to head to... Hey, wait. What is that?
No. Wait.
Okay, I guess we're in a whale now. Monstro is a unique destination in that you don't go to him, he randomly comes to you and kinda just hijacks whatever plans you had, as is the nature of a whale attack.
Well, at least it'll help reduce their population.
Yeah, life is hilariously cruel.
Monstro, of course, is from the 1940 film Pinocchio, Disney's second film after Snow White. It's about a little marionette puppet that gets brought to life by a fairy, and with the help of Jiminy Cricket, a wise vagrant, learns what it means to be a real boy. Spoiler alert, it's having morals. Morals like going to school and not smoking big fat stogies, which I guess used to be a real concern for small children. Just say no, kids, to cheap shit like Gurkha. What you're gonna want is a Fuente or maybe a Padron.
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own?
Pinocchio's whole deal is he gets like a boner or whatever every time he lies, which people naturally notice and freak out about, as anybody would if they saw a little wooden boy clattering around with a huge stiffy. Eventually, Pinocchio's smoking and misbehaving leads him and Geppetto to getting eaten by a whale, and as I don't really remember most of the story, I genuinely can't even fathom how cigar smoking could lead to that outcome. And yet, here they are, in the belly of a whale. Pinocchio is just like, fine, I'll go proselytize to the Ninevites, God. Pinocchio has been adapted numerous times in one form or another, whether it be through Guillermo del Toro's stop-motion style, or the even more terrifying Jonathan Taylor Thomas one, or movies just inspired by Pinocchio, like AI, a genuinely depressing-ass movie, which, what do you know, also starred Sora.
Look, I'm gonna level with you. I never liked Pinocchio. I always thought it was kind of a lame movie. I mean, who's even the target audience? Parents that hate their kids?
Are we supposed to relate to Pinocchio being a little shithead, or Geppetto being a neglectful dad? I mean, you already lost one son, now here you are letting your new son get eaten by a whale.
At some point, you need to stop and think, you know, maybe my parenting is the problem. Maybe it's time to get the old snippy. No strings on me, more like no vast deference.
Anyways, here's some Disney facts. Christian Rubb, the voice actor for Geppetto, was a vocal Nazi sympathizer. Who would have thought that an old Austrian man with a face like this would be a Nazi sympathizer? Well, this would have created a hostile work environment in any era, but this movie came out during World War II, which made it all the worse for the rest of the crew members who weren't huge pieces of shit.
Anecdotally, the animators arranged for Rubb to get on a fake ship on the set so that Rubb could act out Geppetto inside Monstro, you know, so that they could film it as an animation reference. Really though, their goal was to rock the ship as hard as they could to toss Rubb around like a rag doll and rough him up a bit, which is pretty hilarious.
Dickie Jones, the voice of the titular puppet, was 12 years old when recording lines, which may not seem that weird now, but it was pretty novel at the time to use an actual child to play a child for a movie. Like, we weren't even doing that in the 70s. Like, what the fuck, this guy's supposed to be 15. At the beginning of the film, during the storybook opening, we also see Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland as background books, and both stories, of course, would later be made into Disney films. I forgot to mention earlier, but back when we first met Donald and Goofy in Traverse Town, we also got to meet Jiminy Cricket, and he serves as the record keeper for the party, which really is just a fun way to put a Disney spin on the game's dossier and bestiary. Damn, do I love a good bestiary in an RPG. A great detail is that each of the Disney and Final Fantasy characters have a snippet about when they were originally created, although Jiminy shows some clear favoritism towards the Disney characters. Dewey began tormenting his Uncle Donald and Donald's nephews in 1938. The brooms swept onto the screen in Fantasia in 1940. Tidus, Final Fantasy X.
Despite Monstro being a Pinocchio level, the story here really focuses more on Sora and Riku,
with a flashback of the two of them which sets the stage for the themes of this level and establishes the origin of their friendship and later rivalry. Sora meets Geppetto and his little wooden boy hanging out inside the whale, also recently swallowed up. Geppetto's basically recreated his whole bedroom here. Like, how long are you planning on being inside this whale, dude? You gonna start putting up wallpaper next? Damn. While we're chatting with the old man, Pinocchio wanders off and finds himself in the clutches of Riku, who challenges Sora to chase after them.
Let's go, Tybalt! Great adventures await!
Geez, how many plot-relevant characters did this whale eat today?
The different chambers of Monstro's gut all look the same and are a pain in the ass to navigate. This is one of the most confusing areas to traverse, with each chamber having higher and lower exits and no clear indication of where you'll wind up or where to go next.
When we finally catch up with Riku, he puts his insecurity on full display. He accuses Sora of being too caught up with his new friends and Keyblade to care about finding Kairi anymore. It might seem like a textbook case of Keyblade envy, but it does make you stop for a moment to consider his perspective. Riku's been searching this whole time for Kairi in earnest, and has actually gotten farther along in that goal than Sora has, even if it meant he had to fall in with a bad crowd to do so. He's more determined, more confident, smarter, stronger, and he has the bigger dongus. And if you lose too many times to him on Destiny Island, he'll whip it out and slap you around with it, and then he'll name your raft the SS Riku's Bitch. So maybe Riku's frustration with Sora being the Keyblade Master is a little justified.
Riku helps. Riku helps. You know what? It's Ricky now. He's gonna be Ricky for the rest of the video.
Riku helps Sora in battle after Pinocchio was snatched up by the cage-like Heartless. I don't know if there's any real strategy to this fight, since it only has one move, which is just to bitch slap you if you get too close.
Go like that.
You hit my child!
Your son was out of control!
Pinocchio! Please, give me back my son!
Sorry, old man. I have some unfinished business with this puppet.
Is unintentionally the funniest line in the game. Riku goes on to suggest that the doll with a heart might be useful in understanding what happened to Kairi, who's supposedly lost her own heart.
This scene pretty concisely demonstrates the main conflict between Sora and Riku, and why the latter isn't the Keyblade wielder.
Pinocchio may be a cigar-smoking little rascal with a big stiffy, but Geppetto still loves him and would be wrecked without him. But Riku doesn't really care about that, because to him, the ends justify the means. Sora wants to find Kairi too, but he would never hurt anyone to achieve that end.
In fact, the reason that it's taken Sora so long to get here is that he specifically keeps going out of his way to help every person he meets, because our boy Sora is just overflowing with integrity, and we're so proud of him.
What? You'd rather fight me? Over a puppet that has no heart?
Heart or no heart, at least he still has a conscience.
Conscience?
You might not hear it, but right now it's loud and clear. And it's telling me you're on the wrong side!
Riku and Sora are heading towards a confrontation, but the Cage Heartless returns to wreak havoc, and Riku decides that trying to fight both the Heartless and Sora and hold on to Pinocchio would be too much trouble, so he decides to just abandon the puppet idea and bounce. After you defeat the Heartless, Monstro sneezes everyone out and then swims away. I don't think getting sneezed out would be very ideal, but there's definitely worse holes to get shot out of, you know. Lucky for us, Monstro wasn't a sperm whale. You know what I am saying. If you go back to Traverse Town, you'll find that Geppetto and Pinocchio have set up a workshop there where he's studying and building gummy blocks, which is in character for the old man since he's an inventor, more or less.
I love that this game makes an effort to give Disney characters their own autonomy, which is true to their personalities from their source material, and how the game's writing uses that and works it into the greater Kingdom Hearts universe.
Meanwhile, a defeated Riku returns to Maleficent, and it's established that the reason Kairi is in a comatose state is because she has, in fact, lost her heart. Maleficent convinces Riku that only the power of Kingdom Hearts can restore Kairi to normal, and the only way to unlock Kingdom Hearts is with the power of the Princesses of Heart. So he's gonna need to keep snatching them girls up. Let your man know that Mr. Steal Your Girl is back. Maleficent has been whispering sweet evil nothings into Ricky's ear this whole time, and seeing how nothing else has been working, Ricky begins to open his heart more and more to the darkness. How long now before he's completely consumed?
Sora's the Keyblade Master.
What's that mean?
The Little Mermaid was made in the year of our Lord, and by that I mean my birth year, of 1989, and it was the beginning of the Disney Renaissance era, and was considered to be one of the best and most successful time periods for Disney films. Hey, how'd you get in there? Just kidding, I like The Rescuers. My favorite character is Naked Woman. Ariel is the titular Little Mermaid, and the story revolves around her desire to leave the ocean and see the human world on land. And if hearing people use the word daddy makes you as uncomfortable as it does for me, then you may have a hard time with this one.
Daddy, I'm sorry, I just forgot. Daddy, they're not barbarians. Daddy.
One of my very first memories of being alive was playing with an Ariel figurine in a lap pool in a Disneyland resort. Also, we had a VHS copy of the movie, which I tried to flush down the toilet so that Ariel could go back to the ocean. Yeah, not to brag, but I had the original VHS copy. Yes, the one with the penis castle. Upon entering Atlantica, Sora and friends get a design change to fit in better, but it's odd that this didn't apply to the previous worlds. I mean, worlds like Wonderland may have been redundant, but I guess there were plans originally to have Sora in different outfits for each world, but that idea didn't come to fruition. Very early design documents for when the game was originally called Kingdom of Hearts shows Sora in a loincloth for the Tarzan level and an Arabian outfit for Aladdin. Interestingly, this isn't the first time Goofy and Donald have visited Atlantica, as you could see them here as an Easter egg in the film itself. Also, for some reason, Kermit the Frog is here.
Greetings, frog lovers.
Anyways, Goofy turns into a turtle because, okay, that makes sense, he's a shield user. Turtle shell, okay. And Donald turns into a half octopus, which is odd because he's already a seafowl. Like, ducks can swim underwater already. Have the Kingdom Hearts developers never seen a duck before? Speaking of which, I know ducks don't have nipples, but it's weird seeing an anthropomorphic duck next to Sora, and Sora has nipples, but Donald doesn't. You know what I mean? Okay, I need to stop thinking about nipples. Anyways, back to Ariel. Ariel is voiced by her original VA, Jodie Benson, who's absolutely iconic. We also learned recently that she secretly voiced Eva in Snake Eater, and I knew it was her the whole time. I knew. In fact, they even got Kenneth Mars to come back as King Triton and Pat Carroll back as Ursula. The only voice that changed is Kevin Michael Richardson voicing Sebastian, but how could anyone not like Kevin Michael Richardson?
End of days, bitches!
Forget all you know about the platforming you've learned so far because we're underwater now, baby. Meaning we have access to the Y-axis now. Which you might think is cool based on how I'm hyping it up, but no, it sucks. You'll lose the ability to jump or dodge while also having to finagle with these new swimming controls. Fortunately for us, I think the enemies in this world were programmed just a little easier to account for this handicap, but it also just leads to boring fights. Since many of your combos and abilities are unusable and you can't use summons or anything, it just diminishes the whole experience and turns into a button mashing party.
Also, I hope you like Under the Sea, because you'll be hearing it on a loop for a long time. It does raise the question how Square managed to get this track, but couldn't get Disney songs for most of the other worlds. I mean, where's my dope-ass Phil Collins joint for the Tarzan world? Where's my rapping Will Smith for the Aladdin world?
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
Atlantica isn't completely without its charm, though. These treasure chests are clams, which you could open by hitting them with your Keyblade or with magic. Sora's smashing more clam than Prince Eric once Ariel gets her bottom half sorted out. Atlantica is swarming with Heartless to the dismay of the ocean god Triton. Although, I thought Neptune was the god of the sea. Or Poseidon. It gets hard to keep track of ocean politics, you know. But either way, Triton shows a surprising awareness of the Heartless, more so than most of the other NPCs in this game.
They don't look familiar.
We're from an ocean very far away.
Yup, we came to find the keyhole.
There's no such thing, certainly not here.
But Daddy!
No daughter of mine is letting 3 strange men near her keyhole. Triton reminds me a lot of John Ritter when he was on that sitcom, 8 Simple Rules for Not Fucking My Daughter's Keyhole. You know, it's always the biggest creeps that are the most vocal about matters of purity. I mean, just look at Triton's suspiciously human-sized clam hidden underneath his throne. Y'all remember the ego plot twist from Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Well, we already know this dude gets around and has multiple daughters from multiple mothers around the world, yet we never see any of these mothers. Concerning. Hey, what the fuck, Dolphin? Getting pretty pushy there, Dolphin. Like our time in Agrabah, Atlantica hits most of the major story beats of The Little Mermaid, save for anything to do with Prince Eric, as he was completely cut out of the story. It still mostly works, though with the loss of Eric comes the loss of all the land parts too. So, no John Stamos, no priest with a boner, and no Eric doing his Bastille-ass Song of the Sea.
But if you close your eyes...
We are spared from Aquafina rapping as a seagull, so at least there's that. There's a strong current, and you can only get through by riding that asshole dolphin from earlier.
If I could swim with the dolphins, the soft and gentle dolphins.
There is no room in my ocean for you or your key.
Man, this guy's really obsessed with his daughter's virginity.
You cold, my dear?
Ariel is desperate to see other worlds, so she turns to the evil sandwich, Ursula, for help. But rather than taking her voice, like in the film, Ursula instead has Ariel show her where Atlantica's world keyhole is, and this somehow leads to Ursula also taking Triton's trident away from him, in a scene that is very rushed and not explained well. Like, did she have to pry it out of his hands, or did he just leave it by the throne while he went to go take an ocean piss? You really ought to put a bike lock on that thing. To get the trident back, Sora and friends chase Ursula back to her lair, where we see these zombie creatures from the movie. I always thought this part was weirdly dark for the story. These creatures, emaciated and enslaved, where they are for eternity, and no one, not even Ariel, gives a shit about them at all, or offers to help. Oh, I guess they do turn back to normal at the end of the movie. I have no memory of this scene, but apparently it exists. Not in the game, though. Your asses are truly damned forever. Our first confrontation with Ursula is going to be a stumbling block for a lot of players, myself included. She takes you on with the help of her 2 eels, and she does this spinny move around the stage that can knock you out pretty quickly if you aren't careful.
Spin move!
Casting magic spells into this cauldron will cause it to backfire on Ursula and stun her long enough for you to get some hits in. The eels are really just there to give you something to whack at so you can build up your MP so you can continue targeting the cauldron. Something I appreciate about this game is that they always provide some way to prevent you from getting soft-locked into an unwinnable battle. The combat in Kingdom Hearts can be as challenging as it is rigidly fair, so victories feel particularly amazing, and losses sting your pride all the more. It wouldn't be a Disney villain boss fight without a second Humongo form, and after beating her, she just kind of sinks into the ocean, rather than being impaled by a ship. Man, I miss the days when Disney villains had gruesome deaths, like Clayton being hung,
or Frollo going to hell, or Cruella de Vil's mom getting thrown off a cliff by Dalmatians. Yes, that's canon, and yes, it's as stupid as it sounds. After getting Triton's symbol of masculinity back, he finally, begrudgingly, gives us the go-ahead to use our key on his daughter's keyhole. And just like that, we've beaten Atlantica. Time to celebrate.
Ha! Gay!
Let's talk about the music, starting with the theme song, Simple and Clean, by pop singer Hikaru Yudida, which I will not attempt to play even 1 second of, because I know I'll get a copyright strike. Okay, maybe 1 second. Yudida is bilingual, so she sang both the Japanese and English versions of the song, and both are great. It's a song that really captures the magic and spirit of Kingdom Hearts, and so naturally, her accompanying music video is just her doing the dishes. When the premise of Kingdom Hearts was presented to composer Yoko Shimomura, she had a hard time wrapping her brain around what that sort of score would sound like. She had already composed some great soundtracks like Parasite Eve and Mario RPG, but Kingdom Hearts was easily her biggest project to date, and she especially felt pressured not to screw up any beloved Disney songs. Tetsuya Nomura suggested that she use the classic Verdi's Requiem as inspiration for the dramatic side of the score. She took his advice and came up with Zasti. She thought this was maybe too intense for a Disney game, but Nomura pushed her to not hold anything back. Shimura played early builds of the game to help her with inspiration for the songs, and she came up with Dearly Beloved after playing the Destiny Island section and being captivated by the ocean and the tranquility of the waves. She would later say she had no idea the song would be so well received, much less made into the unofficial theme song for the whole series. Dearly Beloved was very close to being my wedding song, but we chose Stand By Me instead. For more information on that, go watch my Final Fantasy XV video. Shimomura felt so much pressure to please both the Final Fantasy and Disney audiences that she actually developed sort of an identity crisis, quitting her job at Square after Kingdom Hearts' release. Which is crazy because she did such an amazing job. Don't worry though, she regained some of her confidence when Square invited her to return to score the sequel, and from there, she would go on to make a myriad of amazing soundtracks. Despite being classically trained in the art of the saxophone, your asses might be surprised to learn that I know very little about musical composition. I could read sheet music, but I can't tell you why a song is good. If you want a breakdown of some of the Kingdom Hearts songs in terms of their musical composition, I would suggest following Jonathan Baruch, I hope I'm saying that right, who I think does a great job explaining what I can't. His channel better still be active when this video goes up, or else I'm gonna look like an idiot. What I can tell you though is which songs I like and why. Kairi's theme is a soft piano melody that perfectly captures the innocence of the girl and the melancholy of her disappearance. It's forlorn, but also has memories of happier times. Friends in My Heart is another good one. It takes cues from Kairi's theme, but also from Dearly Beloved. It's a more optimistic song, like Sora is sad that his friends are missing, but he's confident that he'll see them again. Then there's Under the Sea. No, I'm kidding, I hate that song. Released in 1993, The Nightmare Before Christmas is about Jack Skellington, a resident of Halloween Town where everything is spooky scary all the time, discovers the magic of Christmas, and decides he wants to introduce the holiday to his hometown. Nightmare was famous for its creepy vibes and being entirely animated in stop motion, which is almost a completely lost medium these days. You may also be familiar with The Nightmare Before Christmas as being basically the only thing that kept Hot Topic financially solvent in the mid-2000s. Well, that and those plasma ball things.
Disney facts.
Most people give Tim Burton credit for making the film, but it was actually directed by Henry Selick. Before Nightmare, Selleck had a hand in creating basically all the cartoons that traumatized me as a kid. He was specifically in charge of animating the bear from The Fox and the Hound. He was also an animator for The Black Cauldron. He was a storyboard artist for Return to Oz. Yes, the one with the Wheelers. He was an animator for The Great Mouse Detective, The Brave Little Toaster, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So basically, he was the perfect director for this film. Danny Elfman, famed composer and lovable weirdo, not only composed the score, but also provided the singing voice for Jack Skellington. I had no idea that Danny Elfman was a singer. That blew my mind. I told this to my wife and she said, "Yeah, of course he sings, you idiot." So, there were literally hundreds of puppets made for this film, mostly for the variations of expressions for each character, with over 400 different models made for Jack alone. That's a lot of puppets. The Nightmare Before Christmas might be an objectively good movie, but I never cared for it. I can appreciate Tim Burton's style, he's clearly an auteur, and he's carved out something really unique in the industry, but I just can't bring myself to actually liking most of his work because it's just too off-putting and grotesque. I like wholesome stuff, like puppies, or a Bill Cosby stand-up special. So naturally, Halloween Town is my least favorite Kingdom Hearts world. And it's not the developers' fault, they did a good job replicating the world from the movie. The stop-motion animation with the blocky character design fits in well with the PS2-era graphics. Unfortunately, everything is just kind of brown, and it just looks like you're in a depressing poop world. If you enjoyed listening to Under the Sea 100 times in a row, get ready to hear This Is Halloween on an endless loop. You remember this jam, it's song 3 out of 4 on your Halloween Spotify playlist that you never finished because nobody's made a new Halloween song in the last 30 years. Sora, Donald, and Goofy would stick out like sore thumbs here, so for this world, they're getting a spooky makeover.
Makeover, 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 for you and me.
Jack Skellington looks terrifying next to Sora. Slenderman-ass motherfucker. He's voiced by his original VA, Chris Sarandon of Princess Bride fame. Jack's trying to reanimate dead Heartless to make them dance for the upcoming Halloween celebration, so his friend, Dr. Finkelstein, is trying to create a heart to put into a Heartless. He needs memories which he wants you to take from his undead girlfriend, Sally. This takes us on a journey through the nearby graveyard and over this iconic squiggly hill. Ken Page reprises his role as the mischievous Oogie Boogie, a villain made up of bugs in a burlap sack. He doesn't really have a backstory or any motivation for being a bad guy. He's just sort of a bad guy for the narrative's sake, I guess.
That bonehead Jack is really making a hunt. I'll be jiggered.
Excuse me, you'll be what?
Jiggered.
Oogie Boogie sends his 3 child minions to go steal Finkelstein's experimental heart and bring it back to his janky-ass castle. This castle will test your platforming skills with plenty of areas you could lose your footing, due in part from the flying enemies that try to bait you off the ledge, and especially if you're playing on a PlayStation Portal with crappy Xfinity internet that cuts out when you're mid-jump. Fortunately, there's a weird possessed bathtub at the bottom that will give you a lift back up, so it's not too punishing of an experience. Boogie Woogie wants the heart for vague reasons, and we also want it for vague reasons, so here's a fight. The roulette boss battle is a huge pain, but easy enough once you understand how it works. Unfortunately, you'll probably die before that happens. The house always wins, I guess. Boogie then merges with the castle and turns into a giant Akira monster that you'll have to climb on and destroy. If you, like me, lost the race against Riku due to being an idiot Butterfingers missing time-crucial jumps, then this battle might be a good way to get some catharsis and feel like your platforming skills may have marginally improved since the start of the journey. With Oogie Boogie Deady Weddy, Jack finally learns his lesson about not trying to resurrect corpses just to make them dance for his pleasure. Although, technically the only reason why he came to this conclusion is because it didn't work, not because it was morally wrong, so I guess he didn't learn anything. Halloween Town, like most of the Disney worlds, does very little to advance the main plot of the game, but it does still serve a thematic purpose. Each world has a theme that serves as either a moral for Sora to learn, or a warning about the path that Riku is going down. I'll explain. In Deep Jungle, Sora, in his fight with Donald, learns the importance of maintaining friendships even when you don't always get along. Clayton, on the other hand, was so obsessed with hunting the damn gorillas that he spurned his friendship with the group and allowed himself to be taken over by darkness. In Agrabah, Sora learned, through Aladdin sacrificing his third wish, the importance of not taking the quick and easy path. Aladdin could have wished for Jasmine back, but that would mean reneging on his deal with Genie, so he doesn't. He chooses the moral path instead. Jafar, on the other hand, was arrogant enough to think that he could control the power of darkness without being consumed by it. He wished to be a super swole genie, taking the quick and easy path, and guess what? Didn't work out for him. In Atlanta, Ariel is a pretty clear stand-in for Riku. She also wanted to see the outside world and was willing to make a deal with the devil to achieve that end. Riku only wanted to save Kairi, but in order to do so, he's become a pawn of Maleficent. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and this road has led Riku to pushing away his friends, much like Clayton, and trying to control darkness, despite being warned about its danger, much like Jafar.
So, what is the moral lesson for us to find in Halloween Town?
Well, in the movie, Jack is tired of Halloween and becomes obsessed with the idea of Christmas, only for this obsession to lead to a lot of troubles, climaxing in a grass is always greener, so appreciate what you have sort of theme. I wouldn't say that this is exactly fleshed out the same way in the game, but once again, this idea does parallel Riku's journey. Riku, not satisfied with life on Destiny Island, tries to get to other worlds, and it's led to all the troubles that we're dealing with now.
A lot of people think that the Disney worlds in the Kingdom Hearts games are just filler, like you could take them out and it wouldn't affect the story at all, but I don't think that's true.
The game is really about Sora and Riku's friendship, and each world has echoes of the lessons they're learning, or will learn, by the end of the game. And the next world we visit will be a great example of that. Peter Pan was a 1953 film based on the stage play/novel from J.M. Barrie. Not to be confused with Finding Neverland, a film the advertisements made out to be like a sequel to Hook, with Dustin Hoffman even returning, only for me to find out that it wasn't in fact an action-adventure, but instead the sort of movie your wife makes you watch when she wants to cry. This could have been Hook too, it's fucking bullshit. Anyways, Peter Pan is really a story more about Wendy, a little British girl who gets whisked away to Neverland by the titular character, a boy that never ages, but instead lives out his days fighting pirates and going on adventures. The themes of the story revolve around the struggles of holding on to youth and not wanting to grow up, which parallels what Sora and Riku have been dealing with since getting yoinked away from Destiny Island. Riku wants to grow up a little too fast, and Sora wants to stay young and innocent as long as he can. And in a way, that is the lowest common denominator of the rift that's formed between them, and also how they view life and its challenges. I did not mean to draw a dick. I swear, Disney, please don't let this affect your decision to give me Disney dollars. Shigeru Miyamoto was a big Peter Pan fan, and Link from Legend of Zelda was based on him, green tunic and all. Navi from Ocarina of Time was based on Tinkerbell, and the Kokiri tribe is based on the Lost Boys. And Ganon is probably based on, I don't know, Pete or something. The original J.M. Barrie play portrayed Pan in a more villainous way. He was basically a cruel dickhead to Hook for no good reason, and in order to maintain the illusion of eternal youth on the island, he would thin out the Lost Boys when they got too old, which sounds a lot like he regularly murdered them. If you want to chase this conspiracy theory further, it would stand to reason that Hook and his pirates are former Lost Boys that escaped Pan's thinning. The show, Once Upon a Time, did a pretty good job adapting this version of Pan as a villain, so I would suggest checking that out. Margaret Kelly was an actress and dancer who was hired to be the body and animation reference for Tinkerbell. Funnily enough, her very first acting role was in the 1935 version of A Midsummer Night's Dream, where she also played a fairy. You'll run into Hook's famous pirate ship while flying through a gummy route, and it's not like the inner space of the shared worlds made any sense to begin with, but Captain Hook having a pirate ship that could fly around like a gummy ship, but everyone could stand on the deck and also breathe air despite being in space,
it raises a lot of questions. Riku has a comatose Kairi on board Captain Hook's ship, and Hook is getting bossed around like he's Riku's bitch.
Let's get underway already, and keep Sora away from Kairi.
Imagine having an anime teenage boy telling you what to do on your own ship. It's enough to drive a person off the deep end.
Don't try to stop me this time, Smee. Don't you dare try to stop me this time, Smee. Try to stop me. Smee, you better get up off your ass. Get over here, Smee.
Sora confronts Riku about him falling in with a bad crowd, but Riku insists that he's doing it all to restore Kairi's heart.
You're stupid!
He then uses some dark magic to turn Sora's shadow sentient, a callback to Peter Pan's famously evasive shadow. Hey look, a formerly white character reimagined as a black character. This really was written by Disney. After Sora falls through this cartoony-ass trapdoor...
You don't say.
Yeah, it was definitely Kairi. I finally found her.
All right. Yep. Well, let's go up and talk to her.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Okay, but first, how about dinner?
He winds up below deck where he meets Peter Pan, who's looking for his friend Wendy. True to the movie, Peter Pan is a little shit.
I'm Peter Pan.
I'm Sora.
The Neverland stage is kind of weird because it's mostly just Hook's ship, which is naturally a really small stage compared to the other ones. And even weirder is the fact that it's called Neverland, despite the fact that, you know, Hook's ship is not in Neverland. You actually won't get to see Neverland till Birth by Sleep, but we'll save that for a future video. Meanwhile, Riku informs Hook that Wendy isn't one of the princesses of Heart.
After the trouble of capturing her?
Sora's search leads him to finding Kairi and Wendy in a prisoner's room, and the latter is voiced by Catherine freaking Beaumont again, voicing the character 50 years later. What an absolute legend.
Is there another girl in there with you?
Oh, why, yes. But she seems to be asleep.
Oh!
Hey, let's get up there.
Quite a codfish, that Riku. Running off with that girl without even saying goodbye.
Run off where? Tell me, where did he go?
To the ruins of Hollow Bastion, where Maleficent resides. But you won't be going there.
Wow, did Peter Pan really just shove a knife into Hook's asshole? What's this game rated?
Ready to make a splash, you
On the deck of the ship, Hook threatens Tinkerbell's life, and Sora takes the heat off her by walking the plank. He barely knows her, and he's willing to sacrifice his life for her without a second thought. Sora's always been an exceedingly innocent and good boy, but it was great seeing these qualities develop throughout the journey, leading up to this. Fortunately for us, Peter has already taught us how to fly, so Sora's gonna be just fine. Hook challenges you to a duel, and it's a pretty easy but still entertaining battle. It's a really nice touch getting to fight Hook while being able to fly like Peter, even though it does feel a little unfair for the pirate. With Hook defeated, the ship is ours now, boys. Let's turn it into a sexy hangout spot and invite all the girls we know. Don't worry, they won't want to leave the boat, because of the implication. The gang then flies to jolly old London, home of the Beatles, the Queen, Big Ben, and location of this world's keyhole. The flight mechanic is a lot of fun, and luckily we got some practice with the controls in Atlantica. I mean, you know, swimming, flying, it's basically the same thing. I love the song that Yoko Shimomura composed for this area, because it really invokes the feeling of you can fly while not actually using the song since they obviously couldn't get the rights. I also assume that they couldn't get the Native American song either, which is bullshit because without that song, how were we supposed to know that the reason Native Americans are red is because they're blushing from kissing cute girls? With Neverland down, a new world reveals itself to us, and it's an epic one. I always loved the design of this world, and what a great first impression it makes with the rising waterfall and the mysterious looming tower in the distance. Hollow Bastion is an original world made for Kingdom Hearts, and it's where we'll, hopefully, find some of the answers that we've been looking for this whole time.
No vessel, no help from the Heartless. So tell me, how'd you get here?
Oh my god, it's Mr. Beast! I took 500 Heartless and put them on moving platforms where they'll have the chance of winning 500,000 monies for every trivia question they answer correctly. And if they don't answer in 5 seconds, their platform drops into a giant blender where I'll turn them into a fucking smoothie.
Maleficent actually teased Beast's intro in an earlier scene, explaining how his world was swallowed up by the Heartless, but that he alone survived through sheer force of will, since he's so badass and cool. Beast is voiced by his original VA, Robbie Benson, a man who has exactly the haircut you'd imagine he would have. Oh, thank you for saving me, Beast.
Shut up, Belle, and get your ass back to the library. You're still my slave.
Beast demands that Riku hand Belle over, but Riku basically tells him to kick rocks. Sora confronts Riku about his princess kidnappings, mentioning that it's not a very baller thing to do. So Riku decides to tell his friend what he really thinks of him, saying that Sora isn't worthy of wielding the Keyblade, and as if to validate this claim, the Keyblade vanishes from Sora's grip and transfers over to Riku.
But that's impossible. How did this happen? I'm the one who fought my way here with the Keyblade.
You were just the delivery boy. Here, go play hero with this.
Goofy and Donald, who are specifically instructed by King Mickey to follow the Keyblade, are just like, well, see ya, Sora, you fucking loser. We're gonna be RRs now, roadies for Riku. Good luck with your little boy penis, everyone knows Riku has the big Jimmy. Now, you may be wondering why the Keyblade went to Riku. Remember in Monstro when we got that Riku and Sora flashback in the Destiny Island cave? Well, what I didn't show you was the ending. It's shown that Destiny Island's keyhole revealed itself to Riku, but not to Sora, which is a pretty big revelation. It means that Riku this whole time has been the true chosen one. But after compromising his morals by giving into darkness, the Keyblade instead chose Sora. Notice how the Keyblade only appeared to Sora after Riku steps into the darkness.
Aha! Aha!
Nevertheless, the Keyblade is choosing Riku again, that flaky bitch. So Donald and Goofy are gone, but fine, who needs them? We're teaming up with Beast now. It's an all-is-lost moment for Sora. But like Beast, he's determined to get back his girl, even if he has to do it without his former friends. Beast is a great ally as he's significantly stronger than your former party members, but still, having this wooden sword sucks. It literally does 0 damage, so you're gonna have to rely on your Beast Daddy, or carefully ration your magic usage if you want to survive. The structure of Hollow Bastion is really confusing. There's magic elevators, bubbles that will teleport you to other areas, switches to flip which open other areas, and none of it seems to make a ton of sense. Like, who would live here? Some puzzles, like the library one where you have to match the book colors, is simple enough, but many other puzzles are just too esoteric for their own good. But as far as evoking that good, mysterious feeling, Bastion, maybe more than anywhere else in the game, does a good job getting you to ask the right questions. Like, what happened to this place? Did people used to live here? Was it taken over by a mad scientist or something? I love the theme song for Hollow Bastion, but it always kind of reminded me of the Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction theme song. Halfway expecting Jonathan Frakes to be waiting for us around the corner.
Not this time. It never happened.
I wanted to point out that each world so far introduces 2 or 3 new types of Heartless, and for Hollow Bastion, it's the Wizard and the Defender. Almost as if the game is rubbing in Sora's face the fact that Donald and Goofy have seemingly turned on him, and it's almost like you're fighting against them now. When you finally make it into the innermost corridor of the castle, you'll find yourself in the same room the Princesses of Heart are being kept, which we've only seen until now exclusively in cutscenes. There's nothing quite as satisfying as getting into the villain's lair and getting to muck about in it. Like finding Grunty's lab in Banjo-Kazooie or making your way back to Peach's castle in Paper Mario, there's something about finally making it to that seemingly unattainable place that feels really rewarding, especially when you're playing this for the first time as a kid. Sora arrives just in time to witness Maleficent drawing the hearts from the Disney princesses to unlock the so-called final keyhole. He confronts Riku, and eventually Goofy and Donald decide to stop being assholes and take Sora's side. Sora gives a speech about the power of the heart, and it's so corny but heartfelt that it makes the Keyblade leave Riku and rejoin Sora so that he'll stop talking.
I know now I don't need the Keyblade. I've got a better weapon. My heart!
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The two friends have been slowly drifting apart since Destiny Island, so this fight seemed inevitable. On top of being one of the hardest fights in the game, there's something especially humiliating about getting your ass beat by Riku when he's in his goofy-ass dark side outfit. I mean, what even is this? Like an Under Armour muscle suit beneath a tiki skirt? If you manage to beat him, you'll be free to explore the inner recesses of Hollow Bastion some more. Inside the library, we come across a location that we saw earlier in a flashback of a young Kairi with her grandma. It's actually a big revelation to learn that Kairi was born in Hollow Bastion. That might not seem like it matters now, but it will soon.
Know this. The heart that is strong and true shall win the Keyblade.
Meanwhile, Riku, his ego bruised from his defeat, is just vulnerable enough to fall prey to this hooded figure's promises of power. This hooded figure, the same guy from the Destiny Island cave, tells Riku that he should fully embrace the darkness rather than trying to control it, contradicting what Maleficent has been telling him the whole game. Riku sees that doing things Maleficent's way hasn't been working out for him, so he does as the hooded figure suggests. This, of course, was a trick, as once Riku submits to the darkness, the hooded figure is then able to possess his body. A quick detour here, but I wanted to mention that Monstro is an optional world, meaning that if you visit the whale for the first time after Hollow Bastion, then all the cutscenes will be slightly altered, with the new context being that a possessed Riku is fucking with Sora, and Sora recognizes that this isn't Riku.
What are you?
What? You don't remember your best friend?
Liar! You're not Riku!
Since all the character development scenes between Sora and Riku wouldn't make any sense post Hollow Bastion, they just altered the Monstro scenes to give them a completely different context so as not to contradict themselves. Pretty cool. Sora finds his way to Maleficent and Riku, where they exposit that the final keyhole can't be completed without taking from all the Princesses of Heart. Camera pans over to reveal, bum bum bum. Yep, Kairi is the last princess, sorry Ariel, and what's more, her missing heart has been inside Sora all along. It's a reveal that's actually foreshadowed pretty clearly upon a second viewing. All the times that Sora gets visions of Kairi, you might have assumed that they were just memories of her, but she's always revealing current information, like present tense. In Deep Jungle, Sora recognizes a picture of Hollow Bastion because it's Kairi's memories inside him, not his own. Plus, the most obvious in hindsight, when Kairi first disappears, she literally does so as she's colliding into Sora's chest. Our heroes fight Maleficent for the first time, and it's pretty satisfying getting to finally face off against the head honcho. What could make this battle cooler? Well, calm down and I'll tell you. Riku, now possessed by the strange hooded figure, summons his own Keyblade. One function of a Keyblade is unlocking hearts, and he uses it on Maleficent to unlock her heart, opening it to pure darkness, and turning her into her scary dragon form from Sleeping Beauty. I like the implication here that she wasn't already fully evil. Like now she's super duper evil. This battle is such an insane difficulty spike, it's crazy. Unless you use Tinkerbell, who's totally broken in this game and makes everything a cakewalk. After the fight, Maleficent becomes roadkill, very similar to her film fate. Sora realizes that Riku isn't himself, and he calls him out on it. This is when we learn that the hooded figure that possessed Riku is really called Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, the true antagonist of Kingdom Hearts, and which also leads to another boss fight. This is getting exhausting. Sora comes to realize that the only way to free Kairi's heart is to use the Keyblade on himself, so he basically commits a G-rated seppuku. See, he's smiling. That makes the suicide more palatable for the Disney audience. This act of self-sacrifice unlocks Kairi's heart, as well as the other princesses' hearts that were temporarily stored in Riku's Keyblade. Their souls were like data in the RAM of the Keyblade. Kairi wakes up, but it's just in time to witness our boy Sora die. As Ansem takes over Riku's soul more and more, his true appearance manifests.
Oh no, he's hot!
But for the moment, Riku's soul fights back long enough for Kairi, Donald, and Goofy to escape. I find all this really interesting because while Sora represents the innocence of youth, Riku represents the folly of trying to grow up too fast, compromising his identity, and inevitably having a creepy adult man take advantage of his body. Look, you can get as uncomfortable as you want. That's what's happened in this Disney story. I'm just the narrator. In a surprising twist, Sora wakes up as a basic low-level Heartless enemy, and you get to roam around Hollow Bastion as this cute little guy. It's a fun little novelty, and very telling that Sora's heart had so little darkness in it that this is the form that his Heartless took. The scene also creates the entire premise of the sequel game, and literally changes the entire future of the storyline forever for most of the characters. It is the single most timeline-altering scene in the entire series, the Big Bang moment, an unknown to us at the time, but magnanimously significant. But also, look how cute he is. Heartless Sora rejoins the group, and after giving Kairi a hug, he turns back into his human form. Well, sort of. Again, there's simply no way of elaborating what I mean here without spoiling Kingdom Hearts 2, so we're gonna leave it for right now. Anyways, with Kairi's heart unlocked, the final keyhole becomes complete, and Heartless begin to pour out of it. Our party flees back to Traverse Town to regroup and strategize, but mostly just to drop Kairi off because she's dead weight.
When I turned into a Heartless, you saved me, remember? I was lost in the darkness. I couldn't find my way. As I stumbled through the dark, I started forgetting things, my friends, who I was. The darkness almost swallowed me. But then I heard a voice. Your voice. You brought me back.
Don't ever forget. Wherever you go, I'm always with you.
Upon returning to Hollow Bastion, the Disney princesses reveal that Ansem got swallowed up by the darkness coming from the final keyhole. So here it is, the doorway to the final battle. Sora steps inside and fights a really weak, Heartless version of Behemoth from Final Fantasy.
Okay, so what gives? Well, this part isn't really explained very well by the game, and I'm honestly not sure if I even understand it, but basically, I think this machine is like a magical portal which warps you to the door to darkness. So what we're seeing is like the keyhole to the door to darkness on the other side of this warp. When the keyhole gets opened, Ansem goes through it and closes the portal behind him, leaving nothing but this weird little pocket dimension with one enemy in it behind him. Or maybe that's not what happened at all, I don't know. I was dropping Kairi's ass off back in Traverse Town. Either way, we can't get to the door to darkness from here, but we can seal the final keyhole to prevent more Heartless from getting out.
So what exactly is the door to darkness, and what are we gonna find there?
You poor, simple fools. You think you can defeat me? Me, the mistress of all evil!
Sora! Forget it. There's no way you're taking Kairi's heart.
Before we get into the endgame stuff, we should really go visit... Oh. What's that? What's this? Dear Mr. Wes, thank you for your interest in acquiring Disney dollars to use for your upcoming visit to one of our theme parks. Unfortunately, we do not recognize any monetary value in the unsolicited advertising of our company and trademarks. Furthermore, you can't keep saying fucking shit and endorsing drug use. For that reason, we must respectfully ask you to refrain from doing any more Disney facts. It's not fair. I worked so hard. I deserve those Disney dollars.
tree!
That's right. While you were off goofing around, I finally found her.
Riku, why are you siding with the Heartless?
The Heartless obey me now, Sora. Now I have nothing to fear.
Yeah, it's me, Heartless Wes. I wear leather jackets sometimes and smoke cigarettes because I don't give a darn. So before we finish this stupid story, I figured it'd be best to look at the freaking idiot optional bosses we could fight in this stupid idiot game.
Surprise, motherfucker!
First is Kurtziza, a giant snake-headed Shiva-looking jerk who lives in the desert. You might be thinking, Kurtziza sounds like the bass player in an 80s prog metal band, or maybe he's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. When I first played this as a kid, I thought he might have been some obscure villain from the Aladdin TV show. But no, Kurtziza is just the name of some stupid kid from New York that won a contest or something. I wonder if they would have kept the kid's name if it had been like Dick Johnson or something. Generally speaking, all these endgame bosses are hard as hell, and you shouldn't even bother unless you're level 60 or higher. Only big boys allowed for these fights. Kurtziza is a royal pain in the ass. This General Grievous-looking motherfucker could lock your magic, preventing you from using any spells. He could float around the stage being pretty much invincible as he casts Sandstorm by Deruding. He's a beast, but once you beat him, his heart will be released, finally free to fly back home to its original body in New York, until it's inevitably stopped by the TSA because it's 2002 and he's flying in from the Middle East with a bunch of swords and a foreign-sounding name. The TSA is just like, why don't you have an ID? And he's just like, I left it in New York, I'm a disembodied heart. Our next stupid waste of time hidden boss is at the clock tower in Peter Pan's world. The developers obviously wanted to get some more mileage out of this map, since you only get to see it for like a minute in the main game. It's freaking stupid. Flying up on Sora is a spooky phantom, and it's clear right away, this isn't going to be your average battle.
The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. They were flying all over the place and they were scary, and then they'd come down and they'd suck the soul out of your body and it hurt.
It's amazing that all these boss fights have specially made cutscenes to accompany them. These were the good old days when video game companies actually gave a shit and didn't skimp out on side content. Nowadays, the Phantom Boss would be part of an EA $25 Kingdom Hearts Season Pass DLC, and if you're lucky, they might throw in a potion. Like looking in the mirror and seeing another gray hair, this ticking clock is a reflection of your impending death. When the timer runs out, one of your team members will be permanently out of the fight. This Phantom is a real menace, but if you use the stop spell, you could delay your ally's doom for a while. Phantom is similar to the first fight with Ursula, where you had to use spells on her cauldron before you can attack her directly. Except this time, instead of a cauldron, you get to wail on his big balls. Ah, my balls! Like most of the other Heartless in this game, Phantom was given a new recolor for the final mix, and yeah, I don't think they thought this one through.
I can't see fucking shit out of this thing.
If you beat the Hades Cup in Olympus, then you'll get to unlock the Gold Cup, which consists of one singular combatant, the Ice Titan, one of several elemental giants from the end of Hercules. It's easily one of the hardest bosses in the game. He has homing attacks, he has projectiles, he can stomp on you if you get too close, he can freeze you in place. This dude just unleashes a constant onslaught of attacks, and you have to be constantly moving, dodging, reflecting, and healing, or else you're done. Plus, you can't even reach him to land an attack most of the fight because he's freaking enormous. I hate the Ice Titan. I hate him. To wrap up the secret boss segment is the ultimate secret boss, I think, in just about any game ever made. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, ah, no! Yeah, being level 99 is pretty much a requirement here.
Sephiroth
is the main antagonist from Final Fantasy VII and Cloud's inner demon. In Kingdom Hearts, he was voiced by Lance Bass? What the fuck? Sephiroth's a challenge on multiple fronts. He has an extremely long range due to his 10-foot sword. Do you think he's compensating for something? He could teleport behind you. He could send you to hell. And the hardest thing of all is that he barely telegraphs his movements, so you have to react lightning fast throughout the whole fight, and it only takes one mistake for a game over. I remember retrying this fight endlessly as a kid, and it was such an amazing feeling of satisfaction once I finally beat him. Now that I think about it, the whole experience was fun, even the level grinding leading up to it. and parrying Sephiroth's sword with your Keyblade might just be about the most satisfying thing there is. You know? Maybe I've been doing this for all the wrong reasons. Maybe the point of replaying Kingdom Hearts and learning about all the Disney movies of my childhood shouldn't just be so that I could earn Disney dollars. Maybe I should just be doing this for the love of the game.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say, the Wes's heart grew 3 sizes. This is fucking stupid. Oh, wow. Sorry about that, you guys. I guess I lost my way there for a bit. But now I'm back, and I'm ready to take on whatever comes next. What do you mean I turned black? What does that mean? The end of the world is where the door to darkness resides, and the door to darkness, supposedly, leads to Kingdom Hearts, the mythical source of all power in this game. The ultimate MacGuffin the bad guys have been trying to get at, and is finally within reach. Stop giving me Gummi Ship parts. I don't want Gummi Ship parts. I'm already at the final destination. Where do you think I'm gonna go? The skills you've been learning throughout the game will be tested thoroughly here. Battle after battle, obstacle after obstacle, all culminating with our final fight against Ansem. Hey wait, this song sounds familiar. Oh shoot, you're way bigger than the guy I was expecting. You may remember the demon god Chernabog from 1940's Fantasia, or House of Mouse. Sora is granted his flying ability once again, and you're going to use it to avoid his fireballs and claw attacks. The battle is exceedingly epic, due in large part to the inclusion of Modest Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain, a track you definitely played if you were ever in a high school band. I gotta imagine Goofy would bring this up later like, "Gosh, Sora, remember that time we fought Satan?" Yeah, Goofy, that shit was tight. Sure was, yuck. And did I ever tell you that I have a son? Goofy, what the hell? I thought we were all close friends, and you're just now mentioning this? Once he's defeated, you'll be given the Super Glide ability, which dramatically improves your flying speed. Man, where was this power-up when I was racing Riku on Destiny Island? Speaking of which, after crossing through a series of vague subspace hallways, we eventually reach a door that, strangely enough, takes us back home. But immediately, it's clear that things aren't quite right. This is like the Heartless version of our home, twisted and nightmarish, and totally devoid of the chill bossa nova beats we all love, what with the steel drums, and the marimbas, and the wistfulness.
Take a look at this tiny place. To the heart-seeking freedom, this island is a prison, surrounded by water. And so this boy sought out to escape from his prison. He sought a way to cross over into other worlds, and he opened his heart to darkness.
Riku, possessed by Ansem, gives your standard villain monologue about how the essence of the heart is darkness, while Sora objects by insisting that there's always light even in darkness. Basically, Sora's an optimist, and Ansem's a genuine hater. So, of course, we're gonna fight him, and of course, like any good JRPG final boss, it's gonna take place over like 10 different forms and across multiple locations. First, you'll fight him in his regular Ansem form, along with his big black friend Tyrese. He doesn't have a name in this game, but I like to call him Tyrese. Next, you'll face a harder version of the dark side enemy from the beginning of the game. Then you'll fight Ansem and Tyrese again, but this time, it's actually really hard. I'm not kidding, I had to go grind experience and level up like 10 levels and then come back. Damn you, Ansem Form 2. Damn your big black friend, Tyrese. Eventually, he turns into a giant H.P. Lovecraft boatman abomination. Look, we were all young once. We all went through our own abominable boatman phase. I just don't see how this is an upgrade for him. I mean, look at him swinging helplessly a mile away from us while tethered to a boat. Wait, is this a Steamboat Willie reference? This form of the battle drags on for a comically absurd length of time. I feel like I'm in a Catholic mass.
I'm in already! Let's wrap it up, I got some sinning to do.
You know, we have gotten really far into this game without really learning that much about Ansem himself. And in fairness, the main storyline is pretty sparse with details about the dude.
Hey, have you heard of someone named Ansem?
To supplement some of his backstory, there are items scattered throughout the game called Ansem's reports, and they help give us a better picture of the villain and his motives. Since this battle with the freaking Disney cruise ship is going to go on for like another few hours, let's look at these reports. They begin with Ansem journaling about his experiments with the human heart in an attempt to learn more about its inherent darkness and how to control or suppress it. He learns about the Heartless, the physical manifestation of the darkness in a person's heart, and that they multiply by consuming other hearts, and that they want to consume the heart of each world as well. One day, Ansem is visited by King Mickey, and this is where he learns about Keyblades and their ability to seal or unseal hearts. Ansem devises his plan to kidnap the princesses of Heart in order to make his own Keyblade from their hearts. Shut up, not every detail in the series is going to make sense or get explained. You're too late to get off this train, alright? Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Ansem discovers a young Kairi, a girl of pure light. Ansem then stuffs her into a cannon and shoots her into space. It's true. Hoping that wherever she lands, her heart will attract a Keyblade wielder. When the Keyblade is drawn out, Ansem will be able to use it for his own purpose, to unlock the door to Kingdom Hearts, the source of all darkness.
Kingdom Hearts! Fill me with the power of darkness!
Ansem, totally nuts at this point, says he's going to cast away his body and become a being of pure heart, so that he can control the Heartless, and once the door to Kingdom Hearts is open, he can merge with it to become one with its power. Jump cut to Ansem finally arriving at the door to darkness, with Kingdom Hearts on the other side. He opens it, thinking he's going to drown them in a flood of darkness, only for Sora to be like, I believe Kingdom Hearts is light, actually. And sure enough, it's not darkness, but light that comes sweeping out, blinding everyone in its radiance, and absolutely wrecking Ansem's shit. As he disintegrates, he's like, no, my whole world view! So here's the thing. The Kingdom Hearts in this game is actually mostly darkness. So in a way, Ansem and Sora are both correct. Sora was right in that even the source of all darkness has some light in it, and Sora was able to draw it out and to use it to zap Ansem like a bug. But that being said, the rest of Kingdom Hearts is darkness, and so the door really ought to get shut before that darkness spills out. So Sora, Donald, and Goofy rush to close the door before an army of Heartless can get out. On the other side of the door, to our surprise, is Riku, his body finally reunited with his heart now that Ansem's no longer possessing him. He helps Sora close the door, and it's explained earlier that this specific door can only be closed by locking it from both sides, meaning Riku will have to stay in the realm of darkness. It's a huge sacrifice he's making, but in my opinion, the real sacrifice is going to be his fingers closing the door like that. Oh, you are totally going to smash your digits, bro, I can't watch. As they're struggling to close the door, the Heartless begin to swarm. Things are looking hopeless. And that's when he appears. The mouse, the myth, the legend, King Mickey, and he's gonna keep the Heartless at bay with the radiant glow of pure innocence that only comes from being a 97-year-old virgin. You may remember at the start of the video when I talked about Capcom's relationship with Disney Interactive Studios. Well, at the time of Kingdom Hearts development, they had a contract that only Capcom could use Mickey's image in a video game. So they negotiated with Capcom to adjust the terms of their own deal. I'm sure it involves some intense begging and maybe offering that Tetsuya Nomura name his firstborn child Rockman or something. Who knows? But in the end, Disney got the rights to their character back, but only if he was shown in silhouette. I love that the silhouette had to be part of the deal, as if people were saying, wait, is that Capcom's Mickey Mouse? I don't know. Can't say for sure. Since we're at the end of the game, I might as well spoil something. The identity of the mysterious voice guiding Sora during the tutorial section was none other than King Mickey himself, reaching out to Sora's heart, like two Jedi communicating to each other with the Force. We touched hands. Apparently the Japanese version of the game is less coy about it, where the dialogue better matches Mickey's mannerisms, but in the English script, to keep it a secret, they kept the dialogue as monotone as possible, because something tells me we would have been clued in more if it had read, gosh, fellas, so much to do, so little time. Take your time, fellas, don't be afraid. The door is still shut, pal, haha. Anyways, with the help of Mickey and Riku, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are able to close the door to darkness, sealing away the Heartless for good and restoring the universe to how it was before the worlds were connected. That means that Kairi is sent back to the real Destiny Island, but not before a quick goodbye from Sora, who plans to stay behind so that he could find a way to rescue Riku.
I'll come back to you.
promise! I know you will!
Finally back home, Kairi finishes Sora's cave painting, implying that she harbors the same love for Sora that he had for her this whole time. In a post-credit scene, Sora and friends are wandering the Windows XP desktop when they run into Pluto. For some reason, Donald and Goofy are in their civilian outfits, and it's never explained why. Feels like when we saw Lando wearing Han's clothes. Just odd. Pluto has a letter from King Mickey, and they chase after him, indicating that they now have a lead in figuring out how they could reunite with their friends. It's the sort of ending that's just vague enough to not tell us what's going to happen next, but just enough of a feel-good ending to give us confidence that there's still more story to tell. And boy was there ever. Within a year of this game's release and subsequent success, Square reissued the game in its so-called Final Mix form. This version had some additional content and improvements, and generally speaking, all the future collections or compilations of Kingdom Hearts treats the Final Mix as the definitive version. So what got changed? For the masochists, there's an extra hard difficulty called Final Mix Proud. You could skip cutscenes now, so no more Clayton, not Clayton, for us. Unless you're into that sort of thing. As mentioned earlier, a lot of the Heartless got texture recolors just for the heck of it. I greatly prefer their original designs, but to each their own. The Final Mix also added sub-bosses like the Pot Scorpion or the Giga Shadow. The Final Mix also added a few new weapons and a handful of new cutscenes that helped flesh out the story more. But my favorite change was adding a brand new boss fight against this enigmatic stranger. I really can't say much about this guy without spoiling his identity, but let's just say that by the time Final Mix was released, Nomura was confident that a sequel would get made, and so he threw in a lot of teases for plot lines that would get developed later, like 3 new Ansem reports that would serve as a prelude to the themes of the next game. Additionally, the original version of Kingdom Hearts had a secret ending called Another Side, Another Story, which also teased a sequel, and the Final Mix of the game expands the video even more. This video was technically amazing, but completely inscrutable at the time. But it was also just mysterious and tantalizing enough to give fans who stuck it out till the end a humongous nerd rager. The excitement for these sequel teases is hard to describe to anyone born after 2008, because back in my day, we didn't have freaking Samuel L. Jackson coming out at the end of the credits talking about an Avengers initiative, or a bunch of kings being like, "Ignore us, this movie won't be happening." Before Marvel, we really didn't see teases for sequels that often, especially not so well hidden. I mean, you need to collect all those damn puppies, beat the Hades Cup, seal all the keyholes, find all the Trinity marks, and give your life to Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. Only then can you unlock this ending. But man, was it worth it. Disney and Square hit the promotion of this game hard, producing a ton of commercials and advertisements, and even a manga series to get people hyped for this game. Kingdom Hearts ended up being a huge hit, and within a year of its release, it sold 1 million copies, and in time, it would be among the top 10 highest-selling games on the PS2. Players loved it, critics loved it, Disney still will barely mention it or reference it, but hey, I'll take whatever Easter egg I can get. Kingdom Hearts would explode into a much bigger franchise over the years, and to this day, we're still getting new entries in the series. And in case Nomura happens to be watching this, if you're going to put Star Wars into Kingdom Hearts 4, make it the Death Star from A New Hope. That's the perfect jumping in point to introduce the characters and villains. Do a little mission, and then get out. Plus, you could integrate it into the story, like you're flying around in the Gummi Ship when suddenly it's pulled in by the Death Star's tractor beam. It's a good idea. I'm just saying. free idea. While the subsequent games would better flesh out the combat mechanics and fix some issues with the gameplay, I think there's really nothing quite like the story of the first game. It's surreal, but not completely up its own ass with confusing narratives, yet. It's a simple story of good versus evil, light versus dark, and while I probably enjoy Kingdom Hearts 2 more overall, the original can't be beat in terms of its succinctness. It asked the question, what would happen if we merged Final Fantasy with Disney? And the result, as it turns out, is that you get an awesome, creatively daring game that's completely unforgettable. Kingdom Hearts really is simple and clean. Wait, I got a copyright strike just for mentioning the song? Fuck. Damn you, Square Enix. Damn you, the Walt Disney Corporation. I want to try something new and start answering some questions for my fans to close out my videos, so here we go. This one is from Disco St. John. Which video of yours is your favorite? Definitely my Persona 3 video. I worked really hard on it, and I think it came out great, though I recognize that a 4-hour video is a bit much for some people. He also asked, do you have any unfinished projects that keep you up at night? I've been wanting to do a Golden Sun retrospective since day one, but never got around to it. Then that talented bastard Madular beat me to the punch, and he basically said everything that I was feeling on the topic, so until I could figure out my own creative spin on doing a Golden Sun video, it's gonna be stuck in limbo. The Pokemom asks, is there a specific game or franchise that made you want to start a YouTube channel? There wasn't anything specific, just a handful of older games that I wanted to replay to see if they still held up years later. The original goal of my channel was to find gems that I could show to my son when he got old enough to play them, but the channel's kind of evolved since then. We do play Mario 3D World together though, and he's pretty good. Panglorious Fam asks, would you consider doing the Yakuza games, specifically Like a Dragon or Kiwami? I only played the first half of Kiwami. It was enough to convince me that I could easily get lost in the series because of how fun it was and how serious but goofy the story is, and I just love that combination. But I knew it would also be a massive time sink, so the series has stayed on my backlog until someday when I magically will have all the time in the world to play them. Zephyr Forever asks, what game has influenced you the most in your life, if any? There's not one specific, but I'll give a few memorable games in no specific order. Stardew Valley was really meaningful to me and changed how I view time management, and also helped me learn about the importance of just taking some time for myself. The Sims helped me appreciate character creation and interior decorating, oddly enough. Breath of the Wild gave me a greater desire to explore the world and enjoy its natural beauty. Metal Gear Solid 2 demonstrated the creative potential that video games can achieve in storytelling, and I still think about that twist ending to this day. Kakusan5591 asks, which handheld, if any, was your fave, and which game was your fave on that handheld? I've owned a lot of handhelds that I've enjoyed a lot, but my instinct tells me Game Boy Advance SP right off the bat, so that must be the correct answer. Grinding through Golden Sun 2 during a long road trip through the Pacific Northwest is just a memory I'll never forget. It was so fun. Two-Tone T7i asks, when are we getting Grandia-level retrospectives for other PS1 RPGs? My first PlayStation console was the PS2, so I actually haven't played a lot of PS1 RPGs, but I've always wanted to play the Lunar games or Chrono Cross. For content's sake, I'm sure I'll cover Xenogears someday, as that seems to be right up my alley. ManRay1233 asks, what is your process for choosing which games to review? That's an ongoing struggle as I try to figure out what works for me and what works for the channel. I used to think that just doing any game I wanted would be successful, but all of my Star Wars and Nintendo and Sonic videos have bombed, while my JRPG videos are way better received. So for now, I'm going to be sticking with JRPGs. Allo asks, what's objectively the best game ever made, and what's your personal favorite game? Objectively, the best game ever made is hard to say since there's a million ways to interpret best. In terms of impact on gaming, Mario 64. In terms of inspiring wonder, Breath of the Wild. In terms of expanding the gaming audience, probably Halo or Wii Sports. In terms of technical precision, probably Super Mario World. It's a perfect game in mechanics, length, and replayability, but it was also the first game I ever played, so I'm biased. My personal favorite game is Skies of Arcadia, though it's far from being a perfect game. Do you want to be part of my video? Say, what's the best game ever made?
Cat Mario.
Cat Mario? Cat Mario's your favorite? What's your favorite part about Cat Mario?
When you get a cat bow.
All right, let's say goodbye to everybody. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good job, buddy.
Game